Radio, trenches on the radio, 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 DGNRadio, trenches on the radio, 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 radio. Yo, static hits like a corner store prophet, spitting truth through the speaker, no profit. 92 BPM, knocking boots on the concrete. Why the feds trace signals they can't delete? Horn stab cut, that's the truth in the cut. Crypto flickering green while the world's on shut. Ain't no playlist, this a frequency war. Tune in or vanish like cash through a door. DGNRadio, stretches on the radio. Radio, 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 radio. Stretches on the radio, stretches on the radio. Radio, 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 radio. DGNRadio, stretches on the radio. Radio, 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 radio. Stretches on the radio, stretches on the radio. Radio, 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 radio. Stretches on the radio, stretches on the 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 radio.
Hello guys and welcome to the Beans Bulletin. I'm your host, Shane Burkett, and tonight we're here and sponsored by Chicken CTO. We've got some amazing projects up here for you today where they're going to come up and spill the beans, highlighting the key aspects of their project and giving you the short term and also the long term vision and plans that they've got in place. We've got down here Script Wallet. We've got Chicken C2O, who, what I said, was the sponsor of today. We've got the amazing Kenji and the brand new fresh out project, Nova. I just want to say hello to you all. Thank you all for joining. For some of you, it's your first experience of the show. For some of you, you know, you've been on before. We are very new into what we're trying to do here in terms of giving visibility in the space. This is proven. 2 years ago, 700 projects ran through this format with myself behind it, as well as another team. But now what Beans and Bologna have done is we've actually increased the amount of social platforms that we go live across, as well as live radio, which can be put on loop and replayed over and over and over again to an audience of many projects in the space. So that visibility is massive. Beans and Bologna, our main focus is about providing a safe haven, a place where projects can come and network, feel comfortable, and basically share ideas, share utilities, and just basically being able to cross-pollinate communities as well. I do believe that, you know, by coming up on stage and having a face to a project as a visual is pleasing for the audience as well. On X, you don't get that. You don't get that at all on X. It's just a voice, but also on X Spaces, it's just filled up with other devs who want to showcase the projects and don't give two shits about, you know, anybody else. Well, this is completely different. This is an opportunity for communities of multiple projects, up to 10 we can have live all at the same time, tuning in and basically getting the key information of every project that's in here. No shit projects come in this show. You know, we dox projects and we will kind of bring the trusted. So this is why we do what we do, because it's important that we look after the communities and the viewers and make sure that, you know, we direct them into this safe place of projects to invest their money instead of going on pump fun into rug pulls. So further ado, I want to kind of welcome up on stage Chicken CTO. This is today's sponsor. How you doing, Chicken?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. Nice to see everybody. Welcome to the show. Excited to talk to you about Chicken, man.
Yeah, I'm very excited about this. I mean, I've heard you in spaces of late. You know, you've been busy trying to get that visibility, and some of the information that I have heard is very pleasing to hear. So, yeah, spill the beans.
Yeah, man, I'd love to. So, before I get into the project, Chicken, and some of the different layers, this is a project that I've been working on for over 20 years. And it all started with me hitting rock bottom and trying to figure out who I was. And I realized identity was something that was important when you're trying to rebuild. And as I started doing this, I started noticing similar patterns in systems, and without realizing it, until much later in life, this is how my brain worked. And one of the problems I've always had was trying to communicate to people, especially Web3 and all these new things that were coming out, and being able to see far ahead, and people like looking at me like I'm crazy, and I couldn't figure out why. And so I really went down this rabbit hole about behavior, and I came up with some pretty interesting ideas and theories on how systems and the world and us, right, we're born into structure and we have identities, right? The same thing with a system, right? That agents are born into this structure, but at what point when behavior shifts, how soon before you notice it? So I got lucky. I met a gentleman through my previous job that was a CIO, former CTO for Juilliard, John Childs. He's docs. You can find him on LinkedIn. And he really was able to translate what was in my head and now codify it, and shared with him some ideas I had about behaviors and how that works in markets and the signals we could go after. And he ran with it. He said, in the lab, it's best idea first. And we built this intelligence engine in a matter of months, and realized that we had latency issues. So the amount of data that we're ingesting, we needed more RAM. So we shut the project down and came into the market to see if we could find builders and understand some of the nuances that had changed since I was in it a year ago, especially with regards to vamping and some of the new ways people are farming. And I came across this coin, chicken crossing the road. Somebody else had launched it. I played it, I made a nice bag on it, and then it rugged. And I usually hang around because sometimes there's a little pop, CTOs, and a community started forming. And I started thinking how I could bridge my brand into this and a way to provide utility for chicken farmers and philanthropy, create revenue streams to support the tokenomics, to show people that even though it's a pump fund coin, if you could align sustainability, technology, memes, philanthropy, maybe this is something new. Because I personally believe Solana, especially some of the faster blockchains, could be great opportunities to start a business, right? Versus going the VC route and the private equity route. So that's a little backstory. But what also is important to this is a little bit of lore. Birds have always been a big thing in my life. My brain godwit is a bird that flies from New Zealand to Alaska on one flight, 13,500 kilometers without stopping. It prepares before it goes, so it doesn't have to look back. And that's my brand, my core brand. The chicken, in Chinese astrology, I'm actually a metal rooster. They come around once however many years. You can Google it. And just that something made sense. And, I had conviction, and I CTO'd it. And what was crazy was we couldn't get the DEX. We couldn't get the creator fees. I didn't even know about the creator fees at the time. It was something new to me. And people lost conviction in the project, and it dropped down to $12,000. And I had some money saved up to buy my vested shares from the company I worked at. And because something spoke to me, I decided to take that money and buy 20% of the supply instead, and just burn it to show them I'm not walking away from this project. So we've locked 20% of supply. We've also burned 20% of supply. I'll get into it later. But what's most important is most systems react to outcomes, right? They wait for something to happen and they try to explain it. What we're doing is much earlier than that. We focus on what forms before outcomes show up. Because if you look closely, everything follows the same sequence: behavior, patterns, interpretation, then action. By the time you're acting, though, you're already late. So the question becomes, what forms before that? The whispers before the noise. And this isn't just in markets, like I said, this is how systems move in general. Communities, companies, even people individually. Because under pressure, though, they don't become something new. They revert to what they already are. And that's identity. Not what people say, what they actually do when things get uncertain, right? So what we built is a system around that idea, not around outcomes, around behavior. The first layer is chicken crossing the road. It was printed in 1847 in Knickerbocker magazine in New York, without any assumptions, the first anti-joke. And some people consider it the first meme ever published. And it's lived generations and centuries in time. It's been told by scholars, poets, kids use it to trap others, cynics. It's been written in every type of medium, right? And there's lore behind it. And the thing is, it's not that this project's about a chicken crossing the road. It's about a crossing, because we're all chickens crossing roads, right? And What happens though when you get stuck in the middle of the road, right? That's the uncertainty. And that's the public environment that we're building, the first layer. It's where behavior happens in real time. And if you go to my website, you'll see a page dedicated to what's called the Chicken Army. Those are people that are removing the label of Shiller and all that stuff, understanding now how X distribution works, how the X algorithm works, and are building operators. The goal here is to compound efficacy and compound skill. As we develop ecosystems around that, they're going to be able to ingest and give signal. And the ecosystems that we're building are all community-based and designed to go across chain. As you can see today, we formed a partnership with the Sui Lords. They brought me into the community, really good people. We have a good time with them. And that's the whole point of this, because how can you be in crypto and build in the shadows and be quiet when everything's on chain? So we really want to encompass that, right? Because people show up, they also disappear. They repeat, then they change, right? But this is basically like a live social experiment that I'm in. And you're watching how people behave under certainty, incentives, and pressure. And every week we have a space at Thursday, 3 p.m., where we talk about the different stages of my system and what I expect to uncover. So we're this week's about commitment. Last week was about conviction. The week before that was about efficacy, because that shows you how behavior in humans can show up in behavior in systems. Which brings me to my second layer, our operators, right? They don't create singles. They extend patterns that are already forming. And then the third layer is our Godwit group. That's the intelligence layer. That's where we study what's actually happening underneath everything. And I work with a team of devs over 25 years in cybersecurity. We have 26 patents for emotionally aware AI. We have patents for AI that actually has memory and can learn. And the reason we're able to do this is because we're not renting intelligence. We have everything in-house. So our LLMs aren't databases, right? They're actual interfaces. And there's a lot of innovative tech that we're applying to everything, which is going to scale as the intelligence engine is grown from that point, right? Because the point here is, we want to see how attention turns into participation. We want to see how participation turns into coordination, and how coordination eventually turns into outcomes. But the reason that this is different is because you have the incest of data, bot-generated data, all this fake data out there. If we could build communities and everybody trusts each other and we protect each other and share information, that's a different type of data set that companies can't get, because it's a capitalistic society. Everything's profit margins, right? But in these communities, it's all about bringing people together. So on the infrastructure side, we're building a system that decides those early behavior shifts, not prediction, not signals for sale. We're compressing massive streams of activity into a small set of moments that are actually worth the attention. And one thing
Sorry, I was just going to say that like this is ideal. Like the thing is, so many people are trying to do it, and to do it on such a large scale is going to be so beneficial if people are just open to the idea of kind of going into a collective movement. I
yeah,
do think behavior is something that is kind of putting retail off in the space as a whole. So I do think what you're doing is very much needed. Changing the behavior, changing the mindset, making it the space better as a whole. And with the AI, obviously AI is going to always constantly keep developing. How do you kind of stay ahead of the curve on that? Like, how will you always kind of follow the progression of the AI itself?
yeah, no, that's a great question, because that's exactly what we talk about, right? Most people, right, they want to create, market, and then they collapse. We create, test, prove, and then bring to market. Everything has cybersecurity focus. So if you look at the agentic AI and all the claw bots and everything, people are rushing to vibe code and do, and run Python and all that stuff, which is great for front end work. But if you're actually building real projects, that infrastructure is not sustainable. You're going to burn through API calls and all that stuff, because most people don't have the teams and the resources. The enterprise level engineers are already getting paid a lot of money to do their jobs. Most of the people in these spaces, right, we're volunteering. So, this is exactly where we spend a lot of time on, right? Because most people, like you said, are trying to stay ahead of AI. We're not really trying to stay ahead of it, right? We're building around something that doesn't change as fast. because AI evolves really quickly. Everybody knows that. And AI isn't solved. Nobody has all the answers, right? Models will get better, cheaper, and faster. Yeah, that's given. But guess what? Behavior doesn't move like that. Behavior takes time to develop, right? That's why people, when they trade stocks, right, what do they look at? Trailing indicators, right, to see behavior, right, to identify trends. Use longer intervals to see how the trends are forming, and then use the shorter intervals and TA to plan your entry and exits, right? But that's behavior, right?
Yeah,
Everything's
yeah,
about
totally
behavior.
understandable. Like I say, it's not something that you need to worry about because it'll just progress over time,
Yeah,
just by staying consistent
yeah.
and
I just want to land the
getting
plane real
out there.
quick. Talk about what you said earlier about people, if people are ready to accept this type of change, because people still act the same way under pressure. They still chase, they still hesitate, and they still coordinate in patterns. So what I tell people, if you go back to the spaces, especially the other side, where we break down these patterns and guide them, there's three things that have to happen. First, they have to be willing to accept change. Second, they have to have the mental capacity, right? Stress and all these other things, and finances play a part of that. And third, they have to be willing to commit, right? And if you don't have those three, you're not going to get the efficacy, because it's going to be a false sense of belief that they are aligning to, because they want to help, right? Most people want that, but most people are just lying to themselves. And so when you hold that mirror up to them, that's why people get upset, because that belief system is fragile. Because if that pops, there's nobody there to catch them. That's why in religion, right, God, there's a belief system, but if that belief, God will catch you. Well, in the real world, that doesn't exist. And so the AI becomes an interface, right? Not the thing we're dependent on. So when better models do come out, we don't rebuild everything. We just plug into it. And that's the real advantage over time, is that we want to plug into other systems, like we were talking about before the show. Because over time, the models don't matter. It's the memory, understanding what's already happened, what patterns repeat, and how behavior actually forms before outcomes is paramount. So we don't chase AI. We just build something that improves as AI improves.
No, thank you very much for coming up with all this information. And like I say, I find this really interesting. I found it really interesting when you touched on aspects when I heard you in the space. When you're talking about your project. What I'm wanting to do is just basically get some feedback from the panelists on stage. How you doing, Kenji? Are you good? Kenji, are you there?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, mate. How are you?
I'm all right. How's everybody doing today?
No, we're
Doing great,
doing
Kenji.
good,
Nice to
mate.
meet you, brother.
Yeah, I'm outside, guys. I don't think y'all want to see me all sweaty. I'm just finishing up on a walk, so uh
He's always
it's
exercising, his Kenji. Whenever you speak to him, he's either on a treadmill or he's out in the sticks. Kenji, I was just
yes,
wanting to
sir.
know if you had any feedback for Chicken
I think
off the
I think
information.
I was listening in to Chicken, and I know the guy has a lot of passion. He's very passionate about security and technology and different layers. And I mean, I think the best thing is, like, especially in our the attention span of most people in crypto. Um, I think he tries to break it down as easy as he can, because it's a lot of information to digest. But at the end of the day, it comes down to security and technology and just all those good things. And I think he has his heart in the right place. He's very passionate. I know I've been hearing him in and out of the spaces uh, for a long time now. He's not a new project. He's been around for a long time. And it takes real grinders and builders to do this. And it's not cheap. It's very expensive. So, mad respect to you, bro. Keep doing what you're doing, man.
Yeah, I appreciate that, brother. Yeah, man. It is expensive, right? And that's the thing. We're trying to own the metal here. And so right now we just need it's around $30,000 for RAM. RAM is expensive. We got to fly to Singapore, but we've entered into the Pump Fund Hackathon. There's 4 remaining spots left. They've been slow rolling the hell out of it. We don't want to spend our own money, so if we could get them to cover and give us 250,000 instead of 30, then everything changes overnight. But so right now, like you notice, we've been out in spaces, and now that we kind of people understand what we've been doing. We're looking to grow and bridge communities and chains together, right? Ultimately, that's where the technology is leading us. Even X as a platform, look at the the payment layers and everything they're trying to build. That's why the monetization, the people yelling X is garbage and all this stuff, and crypto Twitter's dead. Don't buy into that, because once the fear, the rage bait, and those attention models burst, the real builders are going to plug into the real builders that are coming on, because now there's actually revenue flowing through the platform.
No, I completely agree with that. The only thing that I find difficult in the space at the moment is that so many people are situated in so many different areas, whereas when X was just X, everyone was kind of brought together. So just feedback on my behalf, it might be worth making sure to get across many social platforms,
Yeah.
because I think there's going to be a lot of projects interested in being part of this with you, in this project and what you're doing. And I'm pretty damn sure that Beans is one of them. And you've got many projects here who they've heard the information firsthand right now if they haven't heard it already before. So what I would like to do is just kind of put it out there to all these devs. If you are interested, get on the back end of this. You'll all be put into a chat where you can have communications, and let's kind of like progress as a collective group and support Chicken. For viewers, Chicken's links are all down below. I want you to go and check out the project. Just, you don't have to buy straight away. Just go in, feel the vibe, join the Telegram, follow the X, do your own research. That's the most important thing. Don't just go in because I'm telling you to go in and buy immediately. Do your own research and then make the choice whether you want to purchase a bag or not. But you've heard the information here. It's a slow cook, but they're building so many different things and so many different layers on this. And to be fair, I haven't heard anyone else doing it. So it's
I
a
appreciate
first
that.
mover.
And I love the call out to the builders. So just so you guys know where we're at in terms of the dev side, there's two really big things that we're going to be launching in parallel. One is a gaming ecosystem. So creators and founders and people that want to build and have fun and build arcade type games and change whatever they want to encourage participation in the communities, and even burn reward mechanisms. We could have a whole ecosystem, because gaming is going to be a big thing we're getting into. We tried to launch a version 1.0 on our website, Chicken Crossing the Road. We had 3 weeks of leaderboard prizes, 1 soul a week. People weren't really playing, so we decided that we want to ramp it up. And then in parallel, we just released our own version of Clawbots, but with security in mind, right? With a way better technology. And the first iteration is a personal assistant, but we also have classes that we're going to be offering to build your own agentic systems that are accredited. And then you'll also have lab opportunities to build as well, which we're going to be offering it within the next couple of weeks. We're just waiting for the accreditation. So this is an opportunity to come build with enterprise grade engineers, people that have sold companies for millions and millions, been bought out by private equity. In the real life, the connections in cybersecurity, healthcare. We're getting into gaming. We sell GRC product in the real world. We sell to the government. Our technology has efficacy. This isn't just ideas. It's already built, and we want you guys to be a part of this. This is the first time people could get in at the business level, like you would in a SPAC, right? But SPACs get destroyed by big hedge funds, because anytime innovative technology comes out, private equity or VCs buy it and shelf it, or they destroy the shit out of the stock. That's what makes this so important. If we could show the world what it's like to bridge communities and build businesses and compound it, where we all just make a little bit, but in a lot of different ways, not only will we have money, but we'll have collective bargaining power. We'll have a voice, just like Walmart's and Costco's. They go to all these vendors and they say, I'm going to pay pennies on the dollar. We could turn around and then use their fucking value propositions against them. We're good people. We're honest. Here's our behavior. Here's everything we've done. You say this in the real world that you want to do this. Well, here's your opportunity. Oh, you don't want to? You're a piece of shit now. And now we hold up mirrors to the fucking world, because we have a collective group. Remember, the system weaponizes what we use against it.
Yeah.
That's why after the 2008 subprime crisis, right? Look and see how much the word racism, bigotry, and all that started popping up in media. How there's an exponential growth in this ideology once people started occupying Wall Street.
Just on this matter, Chicken, I'm going to have to cut you short, because I want you to carry on this off the back end of the show, if that's all right, because I want to hear more about the project. But also, I know that Corey here is very short on time. So I'm just wanting to be able to get him on, if that's okay, just so that he can be in and out. But I really appreciate you kind of giving all that information. And like I say, people, I just want you to go and check it out. As simple as that. Project devs, I want you to get in touch off the back end of the show, and let's see if we can all support as a collective group and kind of get Chicken more, more connections from our own connections in the space, and let's expand that way. So thank you very much, Chicken.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks, guys.
Hey, what's up, Corey? Your mic, mate.
How's it going, Shane? Thanks for having me on. I know we connected. It had to be like 4 or 5 months ago when I reached back out when I was recruiting for the Telegram. So I appreciate you, taking that step further and inviting me on board.
Mate, it's always a pleasure. Like I say, it's so important for me personally, just to always stay connected to everybody in the space, and especially when, people reach out for support and help, because there's always somebody in the space that can do that. And it's just all about networking for me personally. It's about connections and connecting people, projects the best I can, and that's totally what Beans is about. It's about giving that visibility, like you say, for all projects in a unique way that isn't done anywhere else in the space. And it doesn't even just kind of like stop at just this. What we're actually planning on doing is bringing influencers off like TikTok, and it doesn't even have to do with crypto, but it's a way we can bring retail in, but also we can use these influencers to help expand other projects, instead of having to pay people for that sort of stuff. Let's get them for nothing.
Platform, yeah.
Yeah, because they can share their following with other similar-minded people who have an interest in the same thing they do and expand their following from the people they're talking to's following. So it works both ways, I believe. But yeah, go ahead, mate. I'm excited to hear about Script.
Yeah, so Script Wallet, is formed by me and my friend Gabe, who are both crypto miners. So Gabe got into mining in 2017, mining Bitcoin, and he came to me and he's like, "Hey, we both have big boy jobs now. Let's start mining again." And we both love crypto, and are big Solana fans, and we got into mining, and my kind of background is research. So I'm a chief of policy and planning at the Rhode Island Department of Labor and Training State Workforce Board, right? And so my instinct is to start researching, what is the best miners right now? What is the most profitable crypto to mine? And we came to the conclusion that, the route to go is to mine Litecoin. And so we started mining Litecoin. We both ordered our home miners, set them up, and quickly we realized a problem. Litecoin has all these different coins that are on their network, and you mine the Litecoin and you get all these coins, but there wasn't a place that you can hold all these coins in one place. And so we, as you're showing on the screen, we create a Script wallet. So specifically miners like ourselves could have a place to hold all those Script coins in one place. And within this process, we solved a huge problem. We were able to increase our mining profits by 3x because some of these coins that we were collecting that we otherwise wouldn't have been or would have been auto-converting went up a lot in the charts because there are smaller coins, newer coins that were increasing a lot. And so being Solana folks, we really thought, it would be incredible if these coins were available on Solana. So we all know Solana has 85% of the crypto activity on the network. And so we started to build what's now Script Bridge, where you can take these Script coins, these 1 million market cap Script coins like Lucky Coin, which is who we're starting with, and you could bridge it to Solana. So you can have a wrapped Lucky Coin that's bridged on Solana. Now, a lot of times when you hear the word bridge, it's a red flag because these bridges are usually custodial, like Coinbase's Litecoin bridge, right? CBLTC is Coinbase holding your Litecoin and then giving you a replica token. And so we were inspired by the crew at ZBTC, Zeus Apollo Network, that created this first non-custodial wrapped Bitcoin. And so what they did was they created these decentralized wallets that the key to the wallet was shredded inside of the wrapped token. So the Solana token you get is the only thing that you can use to access the crypto that you put inside of their decentralized vault. And that decentralized vault was on a blockchain. And so we use Lit Protocol. So if you pull up Lit Protocol, we use their API because we realize, creating your own kind of decentralized vault, locking system is very complicated and also very expensive. And it would hinder our ability to add the other coins. And so we use an existing protocol that is holding over 200 million of funds right now in different, front end developments. And we created what's called Script Bridge. So right now, Script Bridge is not in production mode. We're in testnet. You could actually test it out if you signed up to the Script wallet. You can test out, but just understand that the lucky coin you send, that wrapped token is going to be interchanged by the mainnet. So what this means, is that we are going, all those coins you see on that screenshot are going to be transferred to Solana in a wrapped version, one-to-one backed proof of work tokens that have minor emissions. So there's no chance it can be rug pulled, wrapped onto the best network, the fastest network, the most crypto active network on the market. And so we've been spending we've been building Script Wallet for 2 years. We've been building the Script Bridge for over 8 months. We went from a team of 1 developer to 3 to now 5. We have some big partnerships that we are currently in negotiations with to, talk about considerable, possible consolidations or acquisitions of some of our code base. But we are also in conversations with different mining pools about how do we integrate Script Wallet to these mining pools, which would give us a considerable amount of user activity. We have over 600 users to date on Script Wallet, and our folks are really excited to enter into the Solana network with these wrap coins. So follow us on X. Script Wallet is our X. I'm happy to answer any questions about the technology. While I'm not much of a coder, I majored in computer science, and I did 36 college credits in high school. Decided it wasn't for me. Worked at a data center, and wanted to just do something where I was around people more and socialize more. Things like this. This is what I live for. I live to hang out with you guys, talk about different projects. But I have a really good technical understanding, a really good technical background. I can do a little bit of coding. So when vibe coding came along, it changed the game because it allowed me to be able to bring my technical mind and prototype ideas that, I could decide if this is a good idea or not, and then send it to my dev team to build out. And so I also encourage, other founders and starters to use Riplet and try out ideas. Right? Ask ChatGPT, how do you build this? What is the technical background I need? I'll give you a couple tips for, building with AI that'll help you a ton, but the biggest lesson is always pay for a real developer to finish it. Prototype it on your own, pay for a real developer to finish it. And so one tip is ask ChatGPT, is there open source repos that are existing that can help me build what I'm trying to build? Another thing to ask it is, what is some existing APIs that can help me build what I'm trying to build with, while in a way that will allow me to do less. And then the last one is find a developer that you trust and, have them finish it for you. But, we've used people on Fiverr, we've used people on Upwork. But the end thing is if you don't trust that developer with the mint authority of your coin, don't have them be the person who's in production mode, who's in the app, finalizing that work. And so we've had extraordinary success just grinding, putting our heads down, digging into the work. And we're excited to have, over 12 TGE moments, right? It's not token generation moments because you're minting one-to-one back tokens, but essentially to the Solana network, there's going to be an opportunity to ape into over 12 new tokens over the period of time we'll be putting these together.
No, amazing, mate. Thank you very much for giving that explanation. And I really do like the educational aspect there that you put out to the viewers. about Chat GPT to kind of guide them, because there will be some people here who might want to try the hand at doing that, and also that we've got devs in here, who might not kind of know code that great. They might have other people in the team that do it for them. So also, that kind of knowledge will help them as well if they want to kind of give it a go. So I was looking through your roadmap. So what is it? Have you got anything for your community that you would be able to share with them in terms of alpha for, the short term? Within the next 2 to 4 weeks, have you got anything exciting to kind of look forward to?
So yeah, to be completely transparent, ScriptBridge is, we would have been already in mainnet. We realized that sometimes the transactions are different. Like one transaction of like a lucky coin might take 2 minutes, another one might take 3 or 4. So we created a system. We're building out this system that's going to make it so you can hold those in a queue, and then you can go and claim those coins later. So once that system is complete, it should be, I was told it was going to be done yesterday, end of day. It should be done today, end of day, or for sure, by this week. Wrapped Lucky Coin will be live. We're waiting to share that CA. But this is a $1.7 million. Could you go on CoinGecko and pull up Lucky Coin? This is a $1.7 million market cap. Strong community, has a strong dev team, and already has a strong floor. So by making this wrapped on Solana, the price is going to increase instantly, because I'll tell you right now, we're going to have to buy about $3,000 to $5,000 worth of Lucky Coin in order to put this liquidity onto like Meteora, into a liquidity pool, right? So we're going to have to wrap $3,000 to $5,000 of this coin. And there's people in the community, there's devs who are ready to wrap, Lucky Coin, who are ready to buy more Lucky Coin and wrap it and put it on Solana. So, this coin's going to shoot up. Right now it doesn't have a CA. I mean, it has a CA, but I'm not sharing it yet because I don't want to, honestly, ChatGPT advised me to not share it, just to try to make the growth as organic as possible and not have snipers coming for it right away. But this is going to be the first coin. We're going to do 11 more after this, right? So, if you're like, hey, I don't trust it, I'm going to sit back and watch, we don't know either. This is a social experiment. We don't know if we can create enough buyer pressure by bridging this to Solana that's going to make the coin go up 20, 40, 50%. My suspicion is we will. We've done, a long time ago, we did a coin that did, 50,000 market cap. And my suspicion is new coins do well on Solana. And, when there's a strong floor already, I think that, it's going to go up. I think the team's going to keep pushing it up once they see the impact. And I think that, if you sit here and watch this coin go up, and it does well, there's 11 more coins that are going to follow behind it. So we're excited for that. I'm waiting every day for the dev to tell me the queue's added, right? As soon as the queue's added, we're going to do a couple test runs. As soon as our test runs are valid, we're going to put mainnet on there and we're going to go live. So we're excited. We also have, some, big partnerships that are in the works. So keep your eyes open for, I'm talking, some big companies, some companies that are very solidified in the community, some companies that, come with, thousands to tens of thousands of users. And, we've partnered with folks like Hobbyist Miner. He's a, really good person to go to if you want to get into crypto mining, learn how you can make some passive income. If you have some good electricity rates, if you live in a apartment or somewhere that you don't have to pay for the electricity, watch Hobbyist Miner's videos. We're happy to have partnered with them and are planning to partner with them in the future. But really, look out for Wrapped Lucky Coin, because I don't think anyone else has put a low market cap proof of work coin on Solana network in a one-to-one back fashion. You can get one-to-one back Tesla. You can get one-to-one back U.S. bonds, but what about a low market cap, proof of work coin that, has a limited emissions? Lucky Coin's max supply is 16 million. It is more scarce than Bitcoin, right? Yeah. And so what is the issue? There's no integration. We're the first. There's 2 other wallets under than us that's integrated it. But when we add it to Solana's network, it's going to be on Phantom. It'll be on Soulflare. It'll be on every place that Solana degens are. And at that point, you have $1 million coin that is basically a new coin to Solana that folks have the opportunity to ape in on. So that's the real alpha. And then the alpha on how to build dApps yourself on, using AI. I'm happy to talk to folks about that. I'm kicking free game because I want to see crypto do better. Crypto can make better apps. The problem is there's too much instant gratification in the current systems we have. You go on, Pump.fun, you go on all these different platforms and it's a good time. Right. But, there's some pain points that we need to work out as a community, and, giving folks those tools and resources helps them do that. I'm a researcher and an educator kind of by trade. I really, I got so good at AI, I'll be completely honest, because I'm researching it for my job. I'm researching how AI is going to impact the workforce, how it's going to impact employers and employees. And so I was able to translate that experience and knowledge to crypto, and a space that I love and care about a lot. So I'm happy to do that. Script wallets, we're paying this out of pocket, right? We're bootstrapping. It's not that much money to pay for a server, to be completely transparent. Dev costs, we throw 200, 400 every week, right? So we're willing to give people the playbook and help the community grow.
Corey, we've got a question for you from Chicken.
Mm-hmm.
What's up, Corey, man? I love the idea, man. It's pretty cool what you guys are doing. We took an open source Monero miner, patched it, removed the dev fees, were able to throttle it. And I was curious, we could talk about it offline, but if you guys are doing anything with Monero or just in general, I'd love to just talk to you guys and see what you're seeing out there. But what I love about your project mostly is you're solving a real behavior problem, not just building tech for the sake of it, it seems, which is really cool. Understanding, miners and building arbitrage systems, I understand what some of the things that you guys are trying to accomplish, which is awesome. It's riveting. But miners are already doing the work, but the system around them wasn't structured to capture the full value, right? And it seems like that's one of the things that you guys saw early on. And what you did was take that existing behavior and give it a better surface, and it's a good start. But I'm just curious, how does that evolve into how you guys are looking at these coordination, right? Like, do miners start standardizing around this? Like, do they start forming around this, or do they stay fragmented across the tools?
Yeah, so I think one thing, first I'll start with Monero. So we're huge fans of Monero, and have considered developing for Monero. We haven't really identified a kind of pain point the same way Scriptcoin had a pain point that we could kind of tackle. But with Monero's, mining profitabilities being pretty good right now, we've certainly looked at, buying a Monero miner and adding it to our fleet of miners. And I think another challenge
from our website, dude. I got Mac and Windows local versions. You go to my website and get them. And if you guys want to start messing around with it, we also provide data security from a company called Cyber Crucible. It's a driver that sits at the OS level. So if you guys click on links or anything, nothing ever leaves the system. So an extra layer of security for those that want to mess around. And if you guys are looking to build in the space, we already have about 50 miners signed up. We're looking to grow that network, man. And if there's a way we could collaborate, I think privacy is going to be huge.
Agreed.
And that's what it's about. That's what it's about right here. This is why we do the show, because you get, if you were on this show and Chicken were on this show, this connection wouldn't happen, and it could save you time, save you money, and it speeds up the progress of your project. So yeah, that's a great gesture there, Chicken.
Yeah, let's definitely collaborate. I think, we're in congruence when it comes to privacy. That's, one of the reasons we're a big supporter of Litecoin and MWeb. We plan to integrate that soon. And then the next question you asked was, how do we think that mining will stay fragmented, right?
Yeah. So you guys, so there's a coordination layer that evolves, right? Now, do the miners start standardizing around that, or do they start, or do they stay fragmented across the tools that you guys are using? How have you guys thought about that?
Yeah, so I think that, there's something I'm building right now called Script ID that is basically a Litecoin name service that takes all the script coins and put it into one name service. So, for instance, I have Corey.script. If I integrate that, if a wallet or, the mining pools integrate that with their API, they'll be able to retrieve all 12 of my script coin wallet addresses at once. And so I think the answer is no. I don't think we'll stay fragmented. I think that this is one of the greatest opportunities to build. And I think that it's happening, but it's happening in a way that's not as easily visible. So one example is Cubic and Quai. Quai is basically combining different type of mining algorithms into one coin. So you mine, script coins, you mine Monero, you mine these different coins, and it's selling the coins and then buying Quai and then burning the Quai. But what it does is by kind of consolidating these mining, kind of hash rates across chains, it's making it so you can actually mine script coins and you get a little bit of a surplus to what you would have got, if you mine Quai versus if you mined it through another algorithms. I know that I believe the Lit VM team is also trying to do some type of like mining that's within a virtual machine inside of a blockchain that has a similar kind of idea. I think what we're doing is like almost like the inside out version of that, where we're giving, because our focus is on control. The benefits of Quai and Cubic is that, their kind of algorithm, they get to, take a little bit off the top. And, we believe that, we can get some money from fees by creating an ecosystem that, you might pay 0.5% to deposit, 0.5% to withdraw, maybe 0.5% to swap. And so we believe that a more, a system that gives the miner full control, but then also allows that full level of, transparency, and, where we can get our profits from a bunch of different dApps we offer, rather than kind of, consolidating and making a more opaque system that, you're just getting a coin called script coin and then you're selling the script coin, and we're burning it, right? So
Corey, I'm going to have to get you to wrap it up, I'm afraid. But what I want you to do is to make sure that you do come back on the show at a later date and give more information on this.
Yeah.
Because obviously it's a very in-depth project and there's so much to talk about. I'm just a bit conscious of time, for the rest of the.
Shane, you mind if I
rest of
just
the
simplify
project.
what he just said? Because I get it. I get exactly what he's doing.
absolutely.
Yeah, so it makes sense. So what you're really building here isn't just a wallet or a bridge, right? It's an identity layer for miners, really. And identity is usually what reduces the fragmentation over time, which is great. Because once people have a consistent way to organize themselves, coordination starts to happen by design naturally, right? So I think the interesting part would be whether that becomes a standard or just, one of many options, because that's usually where things either consolidate or just stay fragmented. So yeah, man, it's cool. I can see the passion and I can see how your brain works, and you're just fucking connecting all the systems in your brain. It's cool to watch you think about it, because by your response, I could tell you put a lot of time and effort into it, man. So kudos to you guys and your team.
Yeah, thank you for that slogan, identity layer for miners. I think that you just created our slogan for Script ID. So thank you. And thank you, Shane, for bringing me on. Shout out to the whole community. You guys are awesome. Let's continue. Let's, make this happen again.
Oh, 100%, mate. And like you say, you're always welcome on the show. Like I say, if we can kind of just continuously keep pushing to network with one another and educate, I think, we're setting this space up in good stead to progress as a collective. So thank you very much for your time. I know that you were kind of strapped for time in general, so I'll allow you to get back to coding, and hopefully you can stick around and listen to the rest of the projects up top.
Absolutely. Thank you, Shane. Thank you, everyone. Peace out.
Take care, mate. Yeah, so that's Script, guys. Make sure you go and check out the project. Do your own research. There's quite a lot of exciting information there. A new token coming to Solana. Well, an old token, but coming to Solana, which might be worth an entry on. So that's the alpha from that. Lucky Coin. How you doing, Mr. Kenji?
I'm doing great, my friend. What's going on, everybody?
No, it's great to see you, mate.
I see my little young protege, Mr. Kuzan there. I see him right there with Nova. What's going on, bro?
Kenji? How you doing today?
Look, I'm your father. I'm doing
Well,
great, man.
I'm glad to hear it, man. It looks sunny where you're at, man. Beautiful day out.
Yeah,
I'd take
Dallas,
the
Texas,
hat
baby.
too, man. That's an awesome hat. Look at
Gotta
that.
represent Kenji, baby. What's up, Shane? Good to see you, man. Uh-oh, I can't hear Shane.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yeah, we've shared the same circles for a very long time, mate, and it's now good to put a face to the name. You know what I mean? And that's why we do this. So it's great to meet
Yeah.
you.
Bro, your eyes, bro, your eyes. You need to move to America.
Oh, hey, it's grim here in the UK, mate. It's grim, but you know we keep grinding and we keep working. I'm just wanting to kind of quickly before we come back to you, Kenji. I'm just kind of wanting to introduce to the audience two other guys who have come up. We've got Phantom from Pepeverse. How you doing, mate?
Hey, good evening, Shane. I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing very well, mate. It's great to have you.
Yeah, thanks for hosting these. Good to see this format come back. It's been a while. I actually was curious, the other day I was thinking about how long it's been since the last show, So it's good to see.
Yeah, it's been about 2 years, I reckon. Like I say, it's a proven format of kind of showcasing projects. Um, Without going too much into it, the wrong person was doing it, and it's better to be in trusted hands, should I say now, for doing it for the right reasons. And that's how come I've kind of decided to bring it back with Beans, because we still find it so important to find an answer, to be able to get very wide visibility in the space now, especially because projects are situated on so many different social platforms. It's hard for viewers to kind of locate projects sometimes. You know, ourselves who are up here, we'll have noticed it's gone somewhat a little bit quieter over time. But that's not always because projects have disappeared. It's just because now they're situated on forecast, they're situated on arena, they're situated like just going on live on pump or the TikTok, or like where is the right place to be? Like really, you know? So why not merge all of them all into one place? All you need to do as a project is to have that social connected to you, and you link it up here, and it streams across all of them. So it just saves time and effort. And yeah, no, it's great. And like I say, I'm really happy to have you here, mate. It's been a long time. Just before we do come to you, Phantom, I just want to give a big shout out to 21. How you doing, mate?
Hey, how's it going? How's it going, brother? Kenji, big shout out. I see you over there, man. Big shout out to
Yo,
my
bro,
big
you
brother.
gotta show your face, bro. You can't always be behind the
Man,
shadows,
I
man.
tried, brother. So I was backstage for like 20 minutes, bro, and I couldn't connect because my camera, it wouldn't recognize my camera for some reason. So I had to like unplug it. That's the only way I could get in. But I'm don't worry, I'm gonna get a haircut. I'm gonna look nice for you next go round.
That's
But
all
good to
good,
see
man.
everybody, and some absolutely great projects, man. I came in, like I said, a few minutes late, but coming in and hearing what Corey was talking about before, that was absolutely some bullish talk. So I've definitely got more questions for that. I'm definitely looking forward to their part two for sure.
Yeah, well, the idea was like obviously we were a bit short for time, so what I wanted to do is actually ask each of individual one of yous for your questions and feedback. But if we did that, there's so many different aspects to that project, you know, and I'd rather just talk back at the back end.
I mean, my wheels were turning, dude. I didn't know what question to ask him first. I was like, crap, I don't want to, man. I was like, I know how it goes, man. You ask one question, next thing you know, you're like 3-4, street corners away from the, 3 turns away from the original question or the topic. So it's hard to keep it on track.
Yeah, so guys, what I'm wanting to do now is basically just give you guys who haven't spoken yet, 10, 12 minutes each, just to kind of put it out there, highlight the key points of the project. What we're going to do is obviously give like a little snippet of your pitch as well, and send it to you so you can use it as content across your own community. Instead of you having to explain yourself all the time, you can just drop that in and it explains everything. That's kind of the idea of why we do it. It's just a nice to have. But what I wanted to do is first of all get Phantom up. Phantom, how you doing? Come on, mate. Spill the beans on Pepeverse.
All right. Yeah. I heard some interesting stuff from the other projects, like, tech wise. Um, I will say that, this project started off as sort of, well, it's a meme coin, obviously. But it was rooted in, like, honestly and truly, like, bluegrass, just like meeting new people, uh, community based, collaborative was like our big thing, it's because, like, the whole idea with the Pepe and Web3, I don't know if a lot of people are familiar with the, like, backstory as to why that's such a popular meme and meme token is for so many decades. The artist who created Pepe is Matt Fury, and for so many decades, it's taken on these different personas, I guess, or it's attached itself to different communities, and some of those, like, you know, are not so good. But it's been one of those things that has been a symbol of not really having any boundaries as to, like, what it could stand for, and a lot of people, when it came to Web3, back in, I would say, like, I don't know, 2017, we had the rare Pepes and the fake rares, and there was a lot going on with Counterparty, and, like, you come one of those things you had to be there for, right? But it birthed a lot of, like, individuality with me, with art and, like, memes and stuff like that. But most importantly, like, art, like, some of the art, I don't know if you guys see, but, like, people have done their own like Pepe renditions, like, we've got artists like Pepe Langelo, who makes some of the most amazing Pepe, like, oil paintings that I think that I've ever seen. Like, these things belong in museums and whatnot. But, to make a long story short, what started off, I think this project was mostly about, like, collaborating with other people and really just being kind of like this home hub for different Pepe projects. It just evolved. I think in life we're kind of defined on, like, how we change, to different stuff, especially, like, being in Web3. Like, you can't always be one dimensional. I do believe that at some point you're gonna have to pivot, especially, for us as a meme coin. It was like, I don't know. I just can't have just, like, one narrative of us being like collaboration, blah blah. So, like I said, we're defined on how we change, who we network with, and, like, who we influence. And over the course of us, like, collaborating and meeting all these different people, and, like, you being one of them, it's like we've also sort of evolved from being, like, just this place of, like, where people can hang out, to us, me and Lady, and Coco and Dirty. I know the whole squad. There's a core team of us, I'd say about 5 or 6, but we've all, like, ourselves found our own talents, I guess. I wouldn't say found them. Really already knew they existed, just kind of, like, blossomed in Web3. And when you're around people that are just building and doing stuff, it just tends to happen like that. So to make a long story short, Zoe's got some amazing art that she's done with the NFTs. We've got the NFT collection. Most recently, her and her husband have actually designed what I think is, like, probably one of the coolest things that we've done is they've made a pure hash rosin THC gummy that's, like, partly infused with B12 and caffeine, like, very low dose. So it kind of, like, gets you buzzed, but it doesn't allow you to, like, get couch locked and stuff like that. They're really interesting. Like, honestly, they sent me a few packs and I love those things. They're called Feels Good Man hash rosin gummies. So if you guys get a chance to check those out, they're delicious too. And then, there's me. I do a lot of different stuff. Like, I guess you could call me a dev. I'm not really, like, a coder guy, just creative. I think they can do a lot of different really cool stuff. So I make, music, but most recently, I think the cool thing that I'm working on right now, which I would love to come back on the show and really expand on at some point, maybe next time. But I'm designing, or I actually have already created it pretty much. We'll be launching soon a, like, music NFT streaming platform that actually in real time pays the artist. And I think the coolest thing about it is it Well, I'll say it here for you, Shane. I normally wouldn't give this kind of alpha this early, but it also allows holders of music NFTs to reap the same benefits, basically sharing a portion of the artist's streaming revenue. So, like I said, I can give you more information on that later, but some of y'all can probably read between the lines on that. It's like honestly, I'm like super proud of that. So yeah, like I said, I'd love to come back and talk about all that another time. But in a nutshell, that's kind of who we are. Just a group of like dope people. I think just
Yeah.
we're parents, we're just normal people, like just creating and building stuff. So that's us. We're all Pepe.
I just want to touch upon this because it's important that I do kind of share this. So Pepeverse, I've known for quite a long time personally, and as Phantom just mentioned, there I know numerous members of the team, and this is a project that is constantly coming up with ideas, and it is a safe haven. It is a safe haven of a project where community members never leave once they're in there. It's got like a real family feel to it. Like I say, the artwork is amazing, and to be fair, there's a lot of projects that come and go in the space who kind of feed off the idea of Pepe and produce a project behind it. And this project stood the test of time. It hasn't gone anywhere. It's constantly grinding. And like he's just said there, he's doing the music NFT platform, and he's actually finding a way to reward the community members by purchasing them NFTs through the artist's kind of work, which I think's actually a really clever touch to do that. So not only does the artist benefit, but by purchasing it, you're benefiting as an individual. Honestly, I couldn't speak more highly of the project. We've communicated over numerous kind of nearly probably over a year now. But what I want people to do is come and check out this project, but also go in there and get a feel for the vibe in the community. You will really enjoy it. In terms of, I'm going to put another spin on it, right? Okay, so as a project, what do you feel at this time is kind of been the toughest thing for you to overcome as a project with markets? Is it community? Is it kind of connections? Is it kind of putting yourself in circles of trustworthy like other projects who you kind of network with? Like what do you find the most difficult?
Yeah, I would say honestly, Shane, like I said, is I think we're sort of we define ourselves by how we adapt to change. And I think the hardest thing has been for everybody. I've seen it in a lot of my other friends that have projects, kind of venting about the same. When we enter like a bearish environment, like maybe not a bear market, but I would consider like what's been happening the last few months to put us in sort of this bearish environment. And I think when you have stuff like that, like at first people tend to like maybe get a little scattered around, mentally scatterbrain and try to figure out like, well, what can I do to adapt to this change? Because people are leaving the space and maybe they're just not communicating in the channels anymore. They've went out to touch grass. And really, I would say, the one thing that to keep in mind is to just not pay attention to any of that. So just keep focusing on building because the narrative can change at any moment. The market could come back and people are ready to like FOMO back in the market and say like, oh yeah, I've had faith in this for, 3 or 6 months, or I've known this project. And it's like, where have you been this whole time? But, at the end of the day, it's gonna be defined by who can change, how we network and who we can continue to influence, whether it's a bear market or a bull market. So, I mean, to me, the hardest thing has just been adjusting to maybe a little bit of silence, in some of the channels. But we've also been, like I said, continue to network, and we've added more people to the channel. So it's like you just got to keep pushing and building. Like that, I would say that would probably be the most important thing to try to overcome those kind of challenges.
Yeah,
For
because I
me.
can imagine it being quite difficult for a dev, when you're putting in so much time and effort into your own project, and like I don't know because I'm not a dev, but you know, when you do see the Telegram somewhat being quiet or your socials being quiet, you start to question things probably like, you know, is it what I'm doing? Is it, how do I get this to kind of, you know, develop in terms of activity? But sometimes there just isn't an answer. I don't think, you know, it's anybody's fault. I think all projects are in the same position where, you know, 6 months ago, the communities on all projects were, you know, more active. I think everybody's in the same boat. But what also I want to kind of touch upon, especially for the viewers, is that when you're investing into projects, like the projects up on stage, um, it's about just sticking to your bags, just holding, because so many people come and go out of projects. You know, they take positions out of these projects and they go on to pump fund and they start investing. You know, because of, they find it boring just because they're not making money quickly. But then at the same time, you're losing that position on your bags and you're putting it into pump fund and you lose the lot. Sometimes it's best just to sit and support and have that you know, that mindset to support and, you know, turn out every day or two and into the Telegram and show activity instead of just following the quick gain. I think that's really important to address because, you know, what is it? I bet it's less than 1% that actually succeed in doing that. So yeah, no, thank you very much for that, Phantom.
Anytime, Shane.
Shane, are we
So
moving on to somebody else, or because
yeah, no, yeah, absolutely, mate. So this next project is one that I'm very excited to share with everybody. It's fresh out the block. 21, how you doing, mate?
Hey, what's go?
21, are you there? You might have to take a lap. Can you guys still hear me?
Yeah.
21, are you there?
I just want to say something, if you don't mind, about the Pepe verse. You know, kind of what I, you know, for an observation I have.
Yeah, if you can make it relatively quick, because like I say,
you know, yeah, no, I love what you guys are doing, man. I think the ethos of Pepe and everything, you guys, the website's beautiful, man. I can tell you guys put a lot of work into it. I love what you guys are doing. The one thing I just want to call out is on the website you had movement, right? But a lot of the things you were talking were adapt, change, right? You were talking about all these different things in a Pepe verse, right? It's more like momentum you guys are building, right? Because you have the emotion, you have all that stuff, and it's really driving you, right? But like you said, you're more the creative side, and I love the cultural side of it. So there's real energy, and it seems like there's real people actually building inside of this. And what really stood out though is, you know, it's a hub for experimentation right now, and I love that. You got art, you got products, you got music, a lot of different directions all forming at once. So I wouldn't focus on, like, you know, design for the movement aspect of it, but you know, you guys are really building momentum right now. And I think the interesting part will be what becomes the core loop that keeps people coming back, right? And I think once you guys lock that in, everything else can build around it.
oh, that's factual information. That, like I say, you just got to keep doing what you're doing, mate. Like I say, I know the effort that project puts in, and I know how strong the community is as a whole. And like I say, more people will turn up and support, and you will progress, and you chart, yeah. You know, what's the chart at now, roughly about 1 sec. But what I wanted to highlight is charts don't really matter at the moment. You don't really need to pay much attention. 35k, like I say, perfect entry right now to get in on. For people to pick up a bag. Charts don't matter. You know, don't pay attention to the charts at all. We're all early. Everybody's suffering. So now it's just the chance to get in. What we'll do now is, Kenji, we'll jump onto you if that's okay, mate. Kind of introduce your project. You know, I've heard this project over and over again. I probably know this project better than I know any other project I've been involved in crypto. But over to you, mate. Spill the beans on Kenji.
Well. First off, I think it's been an amazing show. Great, true developers, people building technology, people building security, people building bridges, all kinds of things, right? And that's really wonderful. We need all that. We need a variety of smart individuals doing some really great things in the crypto sphere, right? But Kenji is primarily a charity-based project since the beginning, since inception. So for those who don't know what Kenji is and all this, let me give you a bit of a back end story. Kenji is basically a token made out of a rebirth, as you say, of death and life of Siberian Huskies. A love for Siberian Huskies that I've been having for a long time in my life. Being an animal owner, raising multiple dogs throughout my life. And so my very first Siberian Husky that I had, his name was Jin, and he suffered like a lot of Huskies do with a genetic disorder of epilepsy. He had seizures towards his third, fourth, and fifth year here on Earth. And one day, unfortunately, he had a massive seizure, and back in February of 2024, and he literally died in my arms. I think I've said this sad story so many times. I don't really like talking about it, but people need to understand how Kenji became a crypto charity token. So um, after he passed away, I have another dog. She's a Samoyed. She's a cold climate dog, and she was very sad. She was looking for her friend that she grew up with as a pup, and I didn't want to see her go through that. And so I decided to adopt another dog, another Siberian Husky, and I decided to give him a Japanese name as well because her name was Yuki, and I decided to give him the name of Kenji, which is second son in Japanese, since he is my second male husky. And so I brought the idea of doing something really great in the name of giving back in the love of my crypto trading days. And I decided to open up Kenji on X. And Kenji in the beginning was primarily just based upon giving back to the world, doing for animals, donating to good causes. I know in 2024 we were donating towards fighting against human trafficking. We were donating towards animal organizations. We did 5 international charities since 2024, 2 in Colombia, 1 in Nigeria, 1 in Indonesia, and 1 in the Philippines. 5 international events in the name of giving back, in the name of Kenji. And Kenji is basically just based out of love, man. And it was primarily just a meme charity token. So last year we had some issues with our token. It was a token 2022. We had launched on Pink Cell and we were on Fluxbeam, and we couldn't extract any of our tax tokens. And as all these guys understand, running a crypto project, it costs a lot of money. So I had told my community back then we were going to have to kind of shut it down and revisit this at a later time. In the meantime, since 2025 into February of this year, when we relaunched Kenji, I've been supporting multiple communities, partnering up for Kid and Wall, being a space host, speaking in Spanish to Latin American communities, doing translation services, and just building up networking. And so I met a lot of great people along the way to this year. And that one of those great people was meeting a awesome person who's a software engineer. He's a real developer, and he's been really working on our Kenji AI app. It's going to be really wonderful. It's going to be multi-language. It's going to have some in real life use. In addition to that, we already have a game that we've built. We have a game developer on our team. We have a software engineer on our team. We have amazing wells on our team. We have an amazing community. And we're putting all the things together to have an amazing 2026. And like so many times, and I think Shane was saying this earlier, I think a lot of people that get into crypto and they're looking for those quick X's, and that's fine. I'm not a hypocrite. We're all DJs. We all look for awesome entries on narratives and stuff. But when you're talking about building community, building real life use for people that'll benefit them over time, our projects are ones that need to be looked at, especially with people that are developing, investing their not only their time but their money, their knowledge, their real life experience, and putting it all together to create something really awesome for the future investors, for the future community members that want to be part of something really amazing, something that can feel safe in, And then over time, everything just gets put together. And one of the main things that a lot of devs have to do, it's really exciting, right, to open up a token, but it's another thing to have to dealing with your own little town. You're literally like the mayor of your project, because you're going to get a lot of opinions, and sometimes it's not going to be very positive. Sometimes you're going to get negativity. So you have to learn that you're going to have to deal with the public. You're going to have to deal with your consumers. You're going to have to deal with your investors, and people want answers. And so one main ingredient that we need to have in crypto is to bring the entertainment aspect of crypto. So I always emphasize that entertainment, excitement, hype is a very important ingredient when you're talking about building crypto community. And that's something that I think we really bring in Kenji, and I'm really excited this year.
No, I just
So,
are you
I
able
mean,
to?
other than that, I mean, those are the bullet points. So, to kind of summarize it for the YouTube viewers listening to me, 2026 for Kenji is basically all multiple utility, play to earn, airdrops, way for people to get onboarded with crypto through Kenji. So, with the Kenji game, we're developing a way for play to earn. We're dealing with Kenji AI. We're dealing with airdrops and also play to earn utility, and our partnership with Kabirium this year. Later, I think they're going to release a relaunch in May or June of this year. There's already some meme tokens in there. Also, a way for new gamers, people who are not even aware of Kenji, to earn Kenji, another way to earn Kenji tokens. So we're going to have 3 utilities, and all of them are going to be ways to earn Kenji as a way to onboarding to our community and getting new ears, getting new people into our community, and letting them see how long we've been around and what we're building. So I'm really excited for this year. And I think that's really it, Shane. I'm not going to try to overkill it. It's going to really sell itself. And then later this year, we'll have our energy drink and some other cool stuff. We got 2 7-Elevens that are down to sell our product already here in the Dallas Fort Worth area, and then 1 local restaurant near Love Field Airport, which is used heavily all the time. So we definitely want to get notice and the visibility and the marketing of Kenji being outside of X, outside of all the inner circles, because that's the only way we're going to get to grow our market cap, grow our investors, and grow our wallet holders. And I think everything will tie in naturally and organically over time. And I'm not in a big rush. I know sometimes a lot of devs are under a lot of pressure to produce financial results, but if the people that are inside your communities, your wells, if they really believe in what your passion is and what you're doing, they're going to just naturally want to just be part of your project because they see the potential and the upside over time. And that's what it comes down to, is what is the potential and upside of being part of all our projects. I think that's the main question a lot of people have, especially those who aren't in crypto right now. And that's pretty much it, man.
No, that's amazing. And like, I was going to touch upon the drink because I heard that in the space the other day,
Can
and
you hear
that
me?
was something. Yeah. Can you hear me?
Oh man, I can't hear you, Shane.
Oh,
Who's on?
can
Can
you
you hear me, bro?
can you hear Shane? Can you hear me?
No? Yeah?
I can hear both of you, but I don't
Oh
think you
my
two can
God.
hear each other.
I did all that talking, nobody can hear me?
No, we can
No,
hear
we can
you.
hear you.
We can hear you.
You're
Okay,
good.
okay.
Yeah.
Maybe there's
So
some interference. I have no idea, guys.
just tell him I'm kicking his ass off now, and we're moving on.
If you like, Shane, since you guys can hear me, I can take a lap. I think everybody got my information, and then I'll come back in really quick.
Yeah, no worries.
Okay. All right.
You can still hear me, Nova, yeah?
He was
Ooh,
loud.
give me-
Everybody could hear him, bitch.
I can. Yep.
Yeah. No,
He just
that's
wants
good.
money, man. Because he has to pay Leah back. She
Right. We're Jesus. Right. We're
That
good.
was good. Hold on. I
Damn
gotta
those
take a lap
kids.
too. Give me 2 seconds.
I think everyone's kids are exactly the same, to be honest.
That was. I think we might have. Caught a little extra glimpse there, but there he is. Caught a little.
Welcome back, mate.
Welcome back.
No, I was just saying. I was wanting to say, Kenji, that I wanted to touch upon the beverage because I heard you talking about that, putting it somewhere local, as somewhat a test run. But then you touched on it there at the end, so I kind of just wanted to kind of get that out there. I was going to kind of add that in, but I'm glad you did. And
okay.
I also think, like you said there, the, I'm not very technical kind of like minded, but what I'm all about is the communities of projects and like and projects themselves working together, intertwining with one another. And like I say, there is that pressure, I imagine, as a dev to to deliver for the community because that's what they expect, yeah. But your mindset is exactly the same as what it is at Beans. We're not in a rush. What we're doing is building, and we're building with purpose. And if people believe, they'll stick around. If they want to sell, they can sell. We're not holding anyone like a gun to anyone's head. But what we are going to do is we're going to deliver when the time comes and when the time's right. And that's exactly what you're doing. And like I say, all these different utilities that you've got building up, like this has been a long time coming, and it's not like you've not progressed, because ever since I kind of met you like a couple of years ago, that's always been the case with Kenji. It's always been delivering on what he says it's going to do. And yeah, I want to give you your flowers, mate. Right, we'll move slowly on now.
Can you hear me, Shane?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I can't hear. I was hearing you and then you cut off. I don't know about having some technical issues, but since you guys can hear me, let me kind of just get a little bit more in depth with the Kinji energy drink. So yes, it is kind of like a test run to just basically get the feedback of the consumers to see if they like it. So what I did, I offered the local 7-Elevens free product that we're going to give them, and I told them we can basically come to an agreement on price, a retail price for the individual energy drinks. But I wanted to see first what their consumers, if they like it, if it sells out, any feedback that they get from their customers. All of that information is really important when you're talking about beverages or you're talking about retail snacks. All of that, if the people like it, if consumers are buying it, and then that's going to be a really positive sign that we're going to have some success in the retail side. In the retail side, people need to drink beverages, right? We all go to a convenience store. We're all looking for something brand new. And this is a really interesting concept. And I know this is not an original concept, but it's for our community, a concept of basically fishing for new uh, community members, potential new investors through beverages, right? And it's not just going to be beverages. There's going to be some other things that I like to see and have potential use later down, maybe in 2027. But this is going to be a test run, just trying to reach out just outside of just crypto trading. Because honestly, from a business perspective, we have to think of ways to reel in new customers, new investors, and everybody needs to drink and eat. And I think it's pretty cool. It looks Japanese anime. People drink energy drinks anyway. So now why get onboarded with Kinji and have your energy drink and come check out our community and grow with us. So that's the hope and the idea. And so if we need to tweak any of our ingredients, I can get with the manufacturer and talk with them, get some feedback from the consumers first, and then we move forward before we like start selling it on Shopify. And another thing people have to understand, because I've been asked the question is, yo, Kinji, I live in another country. Can you sell me my energy drink? And people have to understand that each country has their regulatory industries on what beverages they allow to be sold inside their country to make sure it's safe for their population. So there's a lot of obstacles when we're talking about selling Kinji internationally. But whatever countries are allowed to sell our product, we definitely want to put it on Shopify at some later point for people just to check it out. And I know I hear the excitement and people want it, and we want to definitely deliver. So this is something that we want to just work on as the year progresses. And I think it's going to be really cool because, Kinji is Kinji Token LLC. It's a limited liability corporation based out of the United States here in Texas. So it's a brand. It's my brand. It's our company. And so I have to look at all the different legal angles when we're talking about beverages and just giving it out to consumers. But yeah, man, I'm really excited about that. So if you guys have any specific questions just put it in the chat or go to my X account. Would definitely be more than welcome, more than happy to answer those questions to the best of our ability, man. But yeah, I hope I didn't give you a long-winded answer, but I tried to be as specific as I could, Shane.
No, I appreciate it. Like I say, go and check out Kenji, join the Telegram, follow the socials, ask any questions, do your own research, and pick up a bag of Kenji if you're interested. Thank you a lot. Ciao. Next up is a project that I am really excited about. It's new. It's it's a bit above my head personally, but I'm hoping 21 can explain this in the simple terms as well as the extremely technical terms. How are you doing, 21?
Doing well. How's it going, brother? Good to see you. Good to see you.
Yeah, it's always a pleasure to share a room with you, mate.
Yeah, likewise, and good to see you as well, Kenji and Kuzan, Chicken. Good to see everybody else. Thanks for having us this evening. So very glad to be here.
Yeah. So what project have you got for us today, mate?
So I am now a proud and functioning proud member of Radium Chain, a new blockchain that has actually come out in order to help people build a little cheaper, safer, and faster. And one of the ways that we do that is, I'll leave all the buzzwords and everything out. Basically scalability, infinite scalability, and that is the core limitation of most of the legacy blockchains today. So even when networks, they claim higher throughput, which means the goal is to be able to put as much data in a block and push that block down what you call, hence the blockchain, right? Removing data inside of blocks. So you want to try to put as much throughput, is what they call it, into those blocks when you're pushing them up and down chain, and that's how you move data cheaper, safer, faster, right? So what we did was we found that most of your traditional blockchains have that bottleneck effect. Doesn't matter what you do. Doesn't matter if you go L2, L1, L3, those are all just kind of buzzwords. Those are all still functioning in the same core functionality as a traditional blockchain. They're still going to have that same bottleneck, right? So what we did was we eliminated that single pipeline that became the bottleneck. We actually just eliminated it altogether. Most blockchains rely on a global mempool, sequential block production, and a single chain of state mutation. No matter how optimized the hardware consensus mechanism, there is still one ordered progression of state, meaning, that's your bottleneck effect right there. Under load, that structure naturally creates congestion. So imagine if you had, let me see a good example. Imagine if you had a highway, and your blockchain is your highway. You're driving down the highway. You might have 1, 2, 3, 4 different lanes you can get over. We'll call those validators. In each of those lanes, you'll have validators that go through. You might have a little congestion in one. You might not have any in 2, 3, or 4. With your traditional blockchain, that's all you can do. The lane you're in is the lane you're in. With Radium is way different. It's completely mesh, right? So I can now move things around. I can put transactions in a line that has no congestion whatsoever. And this is all based on a proof of math consensus as well. So everything's already pre-calculated. You're going to know your gas fee going into it by the weight of your block, as we talked earlier, how much data you can fit into that block. Is a lot of cool things moving into this blockchain, man, and I'm absolutely bullish about it. The infinite scalability is something that we definitely need, and that's something that we definitely are looking for. But we've been looking for it along I'm not gonna say the wrong ways, but we've been trying to do things with like L2s and L3. Let's build on a side chain. Let's build, instead of taking what we already had and kind of redesigning it and making it work for us as builders. You know what I'm saying? And that's something that we very lacked as a community as a whole, and as something we did in 2021 was crazy layer 2 time. They were just falling out of the sky left and right, and it served an absolute no purpose whatsoever. And it kind of diluted the space a little bit, and it kind of took away from people building things that we actually need into things that we just wanted. It became a buzzword. It became really just to see what could trend harder, trend faster, and people stopped building. So that's when we kind of got the idea, hey, let's see if we can't redesign this shit and make it work a little better for the people building. So I'm big on the building. I love Web3, and I love moving forward towards Web4. I'm a big gamer myself. Your infinite scalability provides outlets for, you're talking the first time that you can build within gaming with no ceilings. that's pretty cool when you're talking about, gaming. And as a gamer, I think that's pretty bullish. There's other things. There's dApps moving. That's why earlier when Corey was talking about the dApps a little bit, I kind of got excited a little bit, just to be able to move into dApps and information. Your new real estate is your digital real estate. So be able to move that cheaper, safer, faster. I mean, we just saw the state of California adopt Avalanche for their DPS. So they're moving data on chain already. So it's happening, but what are they doing? They're not going after the monetary side of it. They're going after their data transition, and that's what we're doing as well. So I'm really excited for it moving forward. I'm very thankful to be in the place that I'm in, to be with a great group of people, great group of builders, and I really look forward to be able to help people, to give them a better platform to be able to build cheaper, safer, and faster.
No, I'm really excited for you, mate, because I know that you don't move into projects lightly. You move into, real good projects, and you wouldn't move into a project that's shit, basically. So it's basically changing like linear to mesh.
There you go. There you go.
Basically, preventing congestion, basically. That's what it's doing. So it's constant free flow.
Exactly. It just changed the traditional state of having one linear avenue of travel to be able to travel in different directions, up, down, left, right, horizontal, across the blockchain, as opposed to just that one straight line, that leads you into that congestion,
And there's not really going to be much, how easy is it to change that over from an existing linear to mesh, like that transition? If say a project or like someone wanted to adapt it, is that easily done?
And that would be for an existing project? No, it would be basically just deploy a liquidity pool onto the on chain. So you're just going to be basically coming to a new type of blockchain. Now, as we move forward and start to do integrations and things like that, I don't know exactly how it'll work, but I'd like to think that we'd be able to absorb or maybe make some sort of connection to endpoint or an API that would help things run from chain to chain. But I know that's something we're looking at, way down ahead of time in the future. But projects that are already existing, that want to come over, it would be simply just deploying a liquidity pool and coming over to our chain until we can get to a point where we can kind of start to talk cross chain and moving things and working with the same liquidity pool and things like that. Hopefully we'll be able to tackle some fragmented liquidity as well.
So can you just explain to us where you're at currently with the project? Like what stage,
currently
phase are you in?
We're still in alpha. We're still in research and development. We're yet to go live. We are coming up on that date very, very soon. We also have a pre-sale that's going to be coming up and things of that nature. So we do have some things, exciting developments and road milestones, shall I say, not roadstones, but milestones coming up. And I want to say in the next few months, we'll have some more concrete dates and definitely some more updates, and to be able to keep everybody posted. I'll be sure and share our links and our telegrams and all that good stuff so everyone can keep up.
No, that's amazing. Thanks for the alpha on that. So for the people listening, you're hearing this at the very early stage. Like you couldn't be any earlier to Retium. I know a couple of, well, I actually know two devs who were interested in using mesh. Is Retium the first? Because I'm not technically kind of savvy, but is it?
I want to say we're pretty close.
Retium?
I want to say we're pretty close, if not the first, pretty up there with the top three. I want to say, I know that. And in proof of math consensus, we are, I want to say, the first, but the mesh, I don't know if that's been ran or not with a different type of language or not.
No, I appreciate the transparency. Like I say, it's always good if you know, like if you're uncertain, it's best just to kind of say that, and you've done that. So that's great. You kind of not.
Yeah, 100, man. That's what we're all. I mean, you know myself. I'm doxxed. I'm out here. People know, even though I don't have my picture up now. I mean, people know who I am. I'm doxxed. So as the team is as well. They do have themselves doxxed as well on the page. So everyone that works for the project is out in the open, and we are trying to build in a new era of transparency. And I'm really super excited about it. This will be my first time being within a completely doxxed and out in the open team. So I'm super excited about it, and not be the only one, for change.
Also, the team itself, what other experiences the builders got? Have they been part of anything else in the space previously?
So we do have a few. We are still bringing them on some devs that have worked on some previous projects before. I don't have their resumes, and I don't know them off the back of my head. I would sit here and be lying to you if I told you I did. I don't. I'm not that heavy in the dev work or with the developer, but we are still looking to bring some on. So hopefully, moving forward, I know we'll be looking to bring on some people that you've probably seen in the space and may or may have worked with before.
Yeah, no.
Shane, I got a question, man. I love what you guys are doing. This mesh, it's really innovative, and you guys are still designing, and so scalability isn't really the issue right now. But I'm just curious, when you guys are planning, what's the first thing you expect people to actually build on this chain?
So I think we're going to go after dApps, man. I think that's going to be a big focus, is going to be the dApps. That is going to be one of the heart and soul moving forward once we do have our complete ecosystem out. And I do know that's going to be a hardcore focus. So I want to say the dApps first. Don't hold me to that, but I know, as the order goes, it might come in the order of, token deployment, NFTs, dApps, things like that, as it naturally would come to a blockchain. But I think if we have a say in it, it'll definitely have some more to do with the data side than anything else.
That's cool, because you mentioned gaming earlier. I was wondering if you guys are considering.
Yeah, no, that's just a natural. That's just a byproduct of not having any ceilings and being able to build. Being able to, normally you're limited by your ceilings when you build gaming and things like that in the gaming world. So being able to build on chain with no ceilings is just kind of a first thing for gamers. So it's just something we always kind of mention.
Yeah, no, I'd love to link up with you. It seems like you know a lot about gaming. I'd be curious to know a little bit more about what you guys are building.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool, man. Seems super interesting, man. I know you guys are, building something that doesn't really exist yet, and I'm sure people have a lot of
that is the
questions.
tricky part.
Yeah,
and it's not, and we know we need it, and it's not like we don't know that we need it. But it's hard to tell someone, hey, you need this, and it's not what we're trying to do. We're just trying to give people a different outlook or a different outlet to be able to build, like I said, cheaper, safer, faster, and a little bit more differently. We see a lot of things have been built on this traditional blockchain with no actual construction to the chain itself.
Yeah,
it's all, what can we do to build and put money in our pocket and move things forward. But I would love to see what we can do with this thing, man. Like I said, I highly believe we've only begun to scratch the surface of data transmission.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I really feel like that's going to be our bread and butter come the end.
Yeah,
I mean,
definitely.
if you look at the internet was used in offices from what, the 50s and 60s. People were faxing, sending beeps and instant messages and shit like that.
AI
we didn't have
existed back then.
Yeah, we weren't buying stuff till 2000. We didn't have the .com boom till the early 2000s. That was 50 years after the creation of the internet, So I love it. I'm very excited for the data transmission side to see what we can do for it and see how we might be able to help it all. And once, the good thing about crypto is if you help one side, you're going to help everything else, whether it's token deployment, NFTs, gaming. If you're on chain, you're basically building for everyone else who's on chain with you.
Yeah, it makes sense. The interesting part with new chains is it's usually not the architecture that drives the adoption first. So I would just say, man, like really focus on the use case, because that's what's going to pull people in the beginning, and then together, like having everybody aligned around that. I think once you guys define that, everything else kind of builds around it.
Definitely. Once you have that use case, people it's a lot easier for people to adopt a use case into their everyday life as it is to adopt just a green candle, if you will, per se, for lack of a better phrase.
Yeah, I get you, brother.
There you go, guys. That's Retium. And like I said, it's a project that I'm excited about. Me and 21 have spoken, before, prior to this show, and I've kind of got to know it in bits. And the more that I hear it, the more I kind of understand it. And I think it's something that everyone should pay attention to, because I do believe it's going to be up and coming. So I just want you to go and obviously join the Telegram, check out the socials, and position yourself. And I really appreciate you coming on, 21. As I say, everybody who's on the show, we'll put you in a group where you can all kind of network within one another off the back of the show. But also importantly, we are sending out feedback forms to each person who comes onto the show. It just helps us progress as a show. And like I say, just be totally kind of honest with your feedback, because it's important. And hopefully, we can improve what we're bringing to you as a good place to come to do your stuff. So I just wanted to move on, but thanks again, 21. It's always a pleasure.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it, man. Thank you for the time. I always appreciate it, Shane.
No, it's good to catch up again, mate. So it's time for a project that is recently just launched. This project I've kind of been helping in the ways that I know how, and the dev is working tirelessly to kind of rally the team, but also rally a community. I want people to kind of check this out. I want to pass it over to Nova. Kuzon, how are you doing, mate?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, mate.
I'm going to put this up here. I need to stand up so I can actually be good. Guys, how is everybody doing today?
Yeah, we're good, mate. We're good. Like I say, we're here to get visibility and to network and kind of give the alpha to the viewers down below. So, yeah, share Nova. Tell us what you've been doing, where you've been, where you're at now, and let's go.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to keep it, I've been making notes here, making sure that I can keep everything in a good window, keep it short, sweet, and simple for everybody. But guys, Nova is the nexus for opportunity, vision, and advancement for humanity. This was a project founded back in December of 2025 as a community outreach project. Our slogan is "In Humanity We Trust," and that is our mission statement as well. And what does that mean? We are trying to reestablish the message of community despite people's differences, whether you have different views, politics, religions, race, or you're from other parts of the world. We really, really, really try to spread the message to put your differences aside, work together, and do the best that you can to grow yourself. Right now, we are developing Nova Network. It's one of our 3 major missions that we're accomplishing right now. Our first is doing a social media outreach on every single platform, whether that's YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, X, or anything else like that. So far, we have been on X for a month. We have put over 150,000 impressions on the timeline. We had over 12,000 people tune into our spaces this past week, and we are just having a great time. We decided to go into the crypto space instead of developing stocks and dividends with our LLC and our nonprofit organization, because we want to carry 2 messages through crypto. We want to reestablish trust, but we also want to make sure that we are spreading the message to other projects like ourselves that they can establish these assets and also reestablish trust back into the crypto market. Our sole goal is to bring back liquidity, volume, and establish a more long-term view with crypto itself, since we're moving towards a digital world. So we're working with our local community, and we're also working on a state side as well with different types of politicians. We are recording all of this live, and tomorrow we start our 90-day social media outreach. This is a literal live video of me every single day for 90 days. You guys are going to see my life, where I work, what I'm doing, and every little thing that we are getting done with. We put over 20 hours on the timeline every single day. And it has really, really been crazy. We're developing in the Web 2, Web 3, and the real life aspect as well, with tech and everything else. I am working with a few people right now in multiple different aspects with this crypto, because we are very new to it, and it's been pretty crazy. So we've had a few bad characters. We had to relaunch, but right now we're moving into securing a brand new floor. We're working on tokenizing NFTs with our token as well. So regardless, a new floor will be established. If anybody gets in at this moment, you're pretty much guaranteed to be positive at a point. You can see those on our X page as well. They're super duper dope. They're called Novanauts, and they're basically these pixelated spacemen. And we are developing a website and app to where you can plug and play them in, make different social media, and they are really, really cool. We're also working on trying to not have them take up so much of the token, because we don't want that asset to be just about the NFTs. We want it to be something that's unique, people who want to get into the art side of it. We're onboarding a lot of people as well who want to start developing their own portfolio, which will lead me into the actual Nova Network side. We're developing a 24/7 Spaces network to where everybody can come in and grab a slot, whether you want to talk about politics, whether you want to talk about crypto or anything else. We will obviously net you properly, but we are trying to offer people a spot to grow freely. This doesn't cost you anything. We don't need your money. We have developments in our LLC organization where we are making different merch. We are doing outreach and partnerships with different organizations, whether that's on a political side, whether that's on a community side, or whether that's on a nonprofit or humanitarian side. We have done spaces every single day at 10:30 p.m. EST, and we go over the past 24 hours and the previous 24 hours, and then we talk about what is going to go on in the next 24 hours as well. I realize I just tongue twisted that, but I apologize. But guys, we're constantly moving, we're constantly going. Sacrifices are being made because we are coming from a place that isn't in crypto. We understand that hard work pays off. We understand that we constantly have to keep working at it, keep establishing ourselves. And it is being shown in real time that we are accomplishing new heights every single day. We have over 17 one-of-one NFT assets that have been developed so far. We have about another 16 slots that are open up, and we're just having fun with it, man. We encourage anybody who's trying to grow their life to come and spread the message of positivity. The mind share is endless, because no matter any advancement we are making, any type of growth in humanity, we are trying to get out there and reestablish a logo of trust with everybody. I'm working with a lot of people. I don't want to spoil it too much because I've really gone out there and said it time and time again on spaces and everything, but we really just want to give everybody an exciting scope. We have over 5,000 stickers that are in production right now, and we're going to put them out both on Etsy and to some of our members as well. We're onboarding some people who are trying to develop their own growth project and ultimately growing everybody around us without making them pay for anything. This is about growth. This is about community. This is about aspiring to build a world where our children can be proud. Read us in the history books, and Nova will do that. Whether it's in crypto, whether it's in the real world outreach, whether it's in tech, we plan to look back at this project 10, 20, 30 years from now and look at it and be like, wow, man, we put in the work, we put in the dedication, and we rose up 10, 20, 30,000 people, 100,000 people. And all of these people are benefiting because of it. We're outreaching and studying all of these stupid course sellers too. We're trying to show you guys ways to make money online without being degenerates about it. So we are very, very excited about everything that we're doing right now with this project. I will leave it with this and our main message with everything that we push every single day. We trust in humanity. We believe back in our community, whether you have just public speaking abilities, whether you are shy, but you're really good at web development or anything else like that, find your way here. If you're lonely, if you need some uppity in your life, if you need somebody to kick you in the butt, I'm just, boom, I'm gonna kick you. Like my team, Shane understands it, man, because he's all up in our chats and he sees me every morning. I got 15 voice messages in there and I'm just, what are you doing? Wake up, get hype, like let's get in spaces, go make some friends. And we're not out there being like, buy my token, buy this, buy that. No, we want people to really grow with our project. We want people to really just come in and have fun, be like, man, I just got off of work. I'm going to go hop in Nova, man. Oh my God, Kuz is there, Jer is there. Let's talk with everybody. And we're going to keep developing because we don't half-ass anything. We can say it day and day and day and day and day again, but at the end of the day, we will just do it. Proof is in the pudding. Proof is in the action. We're not going to do a bunch of this. We're just going to do it. And when you decide to start trusting us, welcome aboard. I really, really am excited for what we're doing here. And thank you, Shane, personally, for helping growing. Kenji helped grow us so much. I've worked with Steppas. I've worked with Doginal Dogs. They have all given me advice to really inspire and uplift me. I'm sorry that I look like Slim Shady back in the 80s right now. I got a horrible haircut and I'm all over, so I'm trying to be a little bit put together. But guys, it's a great day. We started a new week on Monday and we are pushing again. Episode 30 was last night and we are just having fun with it, y'all. So Shane, thank you guys. And to all the other projects that have spoken, I'm very excited to reach out with you, see what you're developing as well, so we can all grow and inspire new people to develop long-term projects and bring crypto back to a trustworthy aspect again. Thank you guys. I really appreciate you. This was Nova Network.
No, thank you very much, Kuzon. 21, have you got any feedback for Kuzon with him being so new to the space?
Great speech, man. Great speech. Great energy. Way to bring it. Speaking clarity. I don't think that we build for, what's the word? I don't think we have a focus on leaving the space a little cleaner than how we found it, like we should. I like that y'all are trying to help each and everyone grow. You know, as we all say, Web3 was actually created to empower the people and give the power back to the hands of the people. So, you know, I like that y'all are building it alone, and you know, a rising tide helps all boats float. So I like that y'all are digging that, building for everybody, helping everybody build together. And I'm for it, man. Bullish for sure. Great energy. Love the pitch.
I had to go take a lap, but I do got two things. That live chart at the top, that's tied to our other token. ACETA just got shown, so we had to completely relaunch, and then we completely tied it to another wallet, so it wouldn't happen again if anybody did get access to that seed phrase. So we had to learn because we're new, and some stuff happened with our dev team, but we got that all figured out. But we do have our 5-year roadmap on there as well, what we're developing and what's being done in real time. And we're not in a rush, you know, we're really building in progress and stride. And we have obviously chosen a very volatile space to fight people with that, like, oh, it's not up yet, it's not up yet, it's not up yet. Well, guys, guess what? It's not going to happen overnight. We have to build this properly. We're trying to take people out of this mindset that you're going to make $1 million in 24 hours and learn how to hold again, learn how to build, learn how to grow, and develop their own personality across social media, across their community in real life, and grow as a person that they thought they'd never be, you know? So I really appreciate that.
No, what I want to say is that the fact that, you know, you share the same values as myself in quite a lot of aspects, and that's how we kind of came about talking in the space, just because of what you're trying to achieve and the way you conduct yourself. And 21 was completely correct. The way that you address yourself verbally is amazing for somebody who's never done it before in the space. Like, you do conduct yourself really well. So I want to give you flowers for that. It was a great pitch. But yeah, like I say, it's the consistency again. I always talk about consistency, and you've definitely got that. I mean, I know you don't have a massive team, and that's why I've kind of helped out the best I can, because obviously I'm reduced to time, but being able to put people to you to also help out where I can't, just to, you know, to speed up the progress somewhat. But I just want people to go and check out the Nova project, you know, check out the website, check out the roadmap. And Kuzon, like I say, just keep doing what you're doing, brother. You're doing a fabulous job. You know, people do make mistakes in crypto, especially when you first join. People who have been in the space 5-10 years, you know, they still make mistakes themselves. You know, it's easily done. Don't beat yourself up over it too much. You sure as hell won't make the same mistake twice, put it that way. But like I say, it wasn't a big loss for you, really, because your market cap was so low when you made that mistake, whereas you'd have been really booting yourself if you were in the hundreds of Ks. So, you know, it's kind of been a blessing, I believe.
It was, and the best part is that we had locked all of the tokens other than 1% in there. So when it happened, it only brought the market cap down 1,000. We immediately called our TG. We immediately did an X space, and we were like, guys, this happened. I even labeled the space, we effed up, you know, and I had to be like, hey guys, like we gotta redo this. And with the token now, once again, guys, we're not gonna hide anything on the bubble maps or anything else like that. Over 8 people poured into the creator wallet. We locked up 6% of it. We as the team already hold over 15% of the supply plus the 6% that's locked. We are trying to gather up as much supply as we can so we can throw it in with the tokenized NFTs that we're developing as well. And once again, we're working on this as a project on the outside world. This is something that we view as an investment, because if we can come back and reestablish trust in a crypto world of just, wow, like, oh my gosh, imagine how much that would grow for us. We went and did it and showed people how to carry a digitalized asset correctly and develop it. Then we're going to take that message and give it to everybody that we can. And then who knows? Nova might be in the history books. That was the first ever company to develop this aspect, and everybody joined suit because we became a multi-million-dollar umbrella company that has all of these different involvements across the globe, reestablishing trust back in different industries, whether that's in politics, whether that's in humanitarian causes, whether that's social media influencers and outreach. So we really have a strong message, a strong team. Even with us being small, everybody's working in their own aspect. I'm the guy who will get out here and I don't care if I look funny or anything else. Like, you guys can laugh. I've heard the jokes. But I have fun with it, and I'm getting my whole team out on it. We've already, ever since we had these little NFT guys come out, a lot of people started being a lot more like, ooh, what you got going on here? But we said that we were doing it for 15 days, and then we also put it on our roadmap and everything else. So it's crazy that people in this space do not take 5 minutes to do their own research anymore and look through the project. I get 50, 60, 70 texts a day from accounts that have 5, 10, 15,000 followers, and they're like, oh, what are you cooking? But the first pinned post says exactly what we're doing. And then you go to the community and you can see that we have 30 episodes right there in a line. You can scroll them out. So let's reestablish doing your own research, smart holders, smart trades, and spreading the message of positivity, prosperity, and growth for humanity. That is so major for us.
Yeah, I just want to ask Chicken if he's got any feedback from you, because Chicken sounds really experienced in the space, and he might be able to suggest something which is beneficial for your growth and, maybe to assist you with this
Yeah,
project.
man. Listen, dude, like, you're young, you're trying to figure it out. And, if you guys are looking at networks and personalities and stuff, really try and, I would suggest looking at things from a behavior standpoint, right? Because what happens when uncertainty hits, whether it be in a system or in your life, you're always going to revert back to that identity which feels safe. So right now, with what's going on in your world, right, behavior is repetition, right? Like you said earlier, you're building slow, right? That's how businesses start. There's a paradigm shift that's happening in this space. You go on, everybody's been asking for community for so long. Well, guess what, guys? It's here. You just got to be the guy that shows them what the first step is. So what I would really focus on is forget everything that's happened in the past, bro. Because the people that have been there that trust you, and as long as you build it in public, like the blockchain, everything has a receipt, right? Make sure everything you do, whether it's just saying we don't have anything to communicate, let people see that every day, right? Just let them follow your journey. And over time, the behavior will speak more than just one queef in a moment of time, bro. You know what I'm saying? Because the thing is, people assume they know what you're doing, and they predicate a belief system on very limited knowledge. And what happens is, because they're frustrated in their world or they don't know what the fuck's going on, they let their emotion dictate direction. And when people let that happen, they're usually cynics. They're usually critics. They're the people, because why? There's no identity behind their beliefs. They're just fucking out there to watch the world burn. But the real builders, they practice sovereignty. When you choose to pull away from everybody, right? You observe, create. A tree grows in silence, right? It's only loud when it falls, but does it make a
It's not being
noise?
greedy, like
Yeah.
that's the big thing. And we had a lot more people in this project, but we had to part ways because of that point right there. It's like
Yeah.
your conviction gets tested. We had one guy, and this is completely separate from crypto, but we were messing around with seeing how some of these course sellers work, and then trying to record the information so we could give it out in Discord and other
Yeah.
people could use it. And he ended up taking over like $300 and playing around with it and stuff that I gave with them, and then just boom, gone. Like
let me
at
give
the
you
end of the day. Like,
so I love that you said greed, right? If you go to my page on the Chicken or God, a lot of what you're talking about is exactly what we've been showcasing.
really,
Identity. You need an identity. Identity forms what? Belief. Belief is a fuel that turns on the efficacy engine. Everybody has the engine inside them, but you need belief in order to fuel it. The output of that is conviction. Conviction over time gives you commitment, and commitment becomes a discipline. So the identity of your brand, what do you want people to feel the first time within the first 30 minutes of getting there, right? And then build from there, because once you start understanding that aspect, right, people will have that, right? Remember, another thing is they have to be open to these ideas, right? That's why being public and doing the behavior side of things and really just focusing on you, it'll happen, bro. You know what I mean? Obviously, Shane speaks very highly of you, right? I know Shane through somebody that I know that's very well connected in this space. But these people want to, they're not going to come and help somebody below $1 million, market cap, right? But say you work for 6 months and they see it, and then they have people that want to plug into this because they've been paying attention to you, then it just happens overnight, bro. So just fuck the noise, dude.
you're so right about that, Chicken, man. And the first thing I ever learned was conviction in the space. Like that's the biggest thing, is what is my conviction going through this? And it surprises me people don't understand, like, whatever you do is transparent as hell right now. So why be negative? Why go through the timeline? Why do that? And I even caught myself like, oh, I'm going through and being negative underneath somebody's post or something like that. No, like, build your brand, grow right, do the hard work. It shows. Like you
Yeah.
said, I mean, we've, like, the fact that we are a brand new account, none of us have ever done social media growth like this before. And we are just immediately at 150,000 impressions for a month. We hit our month mark today, you know?
Yeah.
So, like, that's insane. And people are stepping into this project. Like I said, big shout out to the Steppers, big shout out to Mist and Motion, big shout out to Shane, AI Wolf, HMAC. I mean, these guys are major people helping me out, and they're not asking for a lot. They see my dedication, they see my growth, and I couldn't be more grateful. Kenji, same thing. Like, Kenji was the first person I interacted with Elon and the Art of Warren, doing the CTO project on that. And a lot of people started to trust me after they watched me hold $1,000 bag at 200K market cap, go to 4 mil and never clipped it. I actually took somewhat of a loss on that token at the end of the day, just after how much we put into it and stuff. And that's what I've learned in this, is I experienced so much in 3 months, is like, why not build? Why not grow? Why not push that message? And every person that I come across, I'm gonna grab the hell out of you, and I'm just gonna be like, "What are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, what are you
Well,
doing?
listen,
Get out
yo,
of it."
dude, this is all the stuff that I talk about. There's a few things I want to talk about real quick that are important. Now that you're starting to get attention, right? People want to help you. Show up with an opinion, right? What is the idea? What is the logic or data behind it? And then call to action or ask for help. Structure that. So come with them. Here, this is what I'm thinking. This is why I'm thinking this. Here's where I need help, or here's where I need you, call to action, right? People that have money don't have time. People that have time don't have money, right? So you got to be quick, calculated. War is won before you enter the battlefield, right? But you
I
go,
I absolutely agree with
yeah.
that, and that's
Wait
the
one
great
second
part
though.
about.
Wait a second, Kuzin. The other thing is you go into war hungry though. So all the prep that you do prior, you remove those assumptions from your head, and now you have an opinion. So now when uncertainty happens, you're not like, oh, all these different thoughts in your head. The last thing I want to say is when you're looking at this, what you're building, obviously this isn't, the first of its kind.
Yep.
What are other products doing? Find where their users are struggling. Go into the comments, go on Reddit. Where are people complaining about these products? What are the top 3 things that need to be solved in this space? Fix those problems first for the users and say, hey, we listen, and then help us. What other ideas do you guys have?
I love that you say that too, because that's the main thing about this, is that we're not we're not worried, we're not rushed, and we have no problems doing something else that's already been done in this space, because it's about establishing trust wherever we go. Whatever we touch, we're going to do that, whether it's hosting spaces, whether it's doing crypto, whether it's having political talks where people can hop up on stage, whether it's doing IRL outreach, anything like that.
Yeah.
We're really getting that ability to not be greedy. And like you said too, like, you really have to be careful about how you add people into it. But the way that this has navigated, like, it's been absolutely stellar. The development in all different platforms and aspects across this project is very healthy.
Yeah,
We
man.
don't have to reach
That's it,
out
dude.
or ask for a helping hand, because we're all just having fun. It's
Yeah,
about
so
bringing back positivity,
yeah,
having fun with it, and
of
growing.
course, but
You
you got to
know?
realize, dude, when that's all great, you got to define what that means. Literally define it, break it down. If you could say that to any project, right? Do you
Yeah,
really own it? Like cliches. If I tell you I provide a white glove service, that sounds cool, but what that means to me is X, Y, Z. The benefit to you is X, Y, Z. So now when you define it, people now use that as a litmus test to compare other projects to what you said, right?
absolutely. And I
So
agree with you absolutely on that, Chicken. Like I said earlier, we covered what this project does and how it appeals to that in its
yeah,
own unique aspect. I encourage everybody, like I said, just do your own research, check out our pages, see what we're developing from our roadmap and everything else.
yeah,
And we are very solid. I'm not worried about us being copycats or anything, or not having our own uniqueness to this, because everything that we have developed so far has had its own unique touch. We're doing things that, whether they're the same or have been done before, we're putting our own unique name on it with our own
yeah.
unique brand, and we're doing this in a proper, structured way with the right people, regardless.
I
People
love that,
always
dude.
get tested on their
Yeah.
conviction, and
That's the
we are
first
going to
step,
be here
dog. That's
for
the
you,
first
you
step,
know?
though. That's the first step, right?
Yeah.
Now you gotta,
Who's
now you gotta fucking, now you gotta move forward. Like that's all
mm,
that you. That's what you've said that, right? And that's the identity piece because you're uncertain, right? So you're going back to that because that's the story that feels comfortable. But this is where I challenge you, right? Now you gotta stop talking about that. You've already done that, just like everybody wanted communities. So the last thing I'm gonna say is this: two books I strongly recommend you look into. The Innovator's Dilemma by Clay Christensen. It's all about compete against non-competition. That's the premise.
Mhm.
And the other one is Chasing the Chasm. That talks about how to
I have heard
introduce.
about that book. That's a
Read those two books, bro. It'll give you a really good perspective on how to approach this because these
and
two
can
books are exactly.
I ask a question if you don't mind? Just I misunderstood you a little bit. So what do you mean by uncertainty? Like, where do
Yeah.
you
See.
feel that uncertainty is being
Right.
no,
expressed?
Yeah. No, that's great because so
Just
just like
so
in
I can
system.
understand, because I want to
Yeah.
know
Yeah.
how I carry myself and express
Yeah.
myself
Yeah.
when I'm
No,
on the
dude.
crowd.
Listen.
That's important.
Every Thursday, by the way, I do a space 3
Awesome.
p.m. Eastern. We do this is exactly what we do. I show you guys what that looks like because what happens is you're born into a structured system. And throughout life, by design, we create ideologies and belief systems, right?
Hmm.
And now what you're doing, you believe in it, right? Now that's the part, but now is the belief predicated on identity, structure, or is it belief that this is what everybody else wants? So when I ask you that, right, you don't know, the uncertainty hits, and now you're anchoring that. Now I look for that moment where you anchor that belief to, or where that identity comes from. And so now, because of everything that's been, think about all the stuff that's happened to you. You're trying to just cover that up by explaining we've done this and we're looking. All that is what everybody's saying, and it's comfortable, right? And
So
your
what's the
friends and
what's the
people,
real question that you're asking? Like, what
yeah,
what I have
okay.
come to conviction with this
No,
project?
no.
Is
So
that
not no, you don't not the conviction, not the conviction, the identity piece, right? You're at the beginning stages. What are the three
absolutely?
pillars your platform stands on? What is it that makes it different from everybody else? In the first 30 minutes, what do you want people to feel or come away with?
I want somebody to feel at home. And I feel like, for one, that is probably the first and foremost thing, because it's about giving somebody an aspect that, like, it's like they're excited, they wake up in the morning. Like, first and foremost, as far as an identity piece to this, is like, this project was created back in December because I'm currently going into 24. I literally have worked nonstop since I was 18. I never developed friends. I've always moved around. It's not that I'm a bad looking guy or that I carry myself badly or anything else like that. It's just a lot of people my age party and everything else. So I really wanted to develop a place where people can grow, whether they're shy or whether, they're in a separate part of the world or anything else, that don't really have the ability to do that at any point. So the first and foremost thing is definitely the community and feeling like they are a part of something. The second one is the actual truth and transparency that's behind what we're building. So we are developing tech every single day, and we are showing people in real time what's moving through the blockchain, what we're doing, whether it's on a real time aspect or on a blockchain aspect with our token. And then last but not least, it's really just about grabbing everybody that we can. Nova itself has been kind of very structured in a way to kind of hit everybody's hot buttons and leave an impact on people. Everywhere that I have touched, everybody remembers me. It's like, oh, Nova's back. Nova's here. Nova's this. We have Nova Knots. We have every type of way to outreach with that. And our whole goal is to create a supernova in this bear market. And that's just with the crypto aspect. That's not talking about what we're doing in real life outreach. Like I said, I
Yeah,
don't
dude.
want to spoil a lot of it because at the end of the day, you
No,
have.
I understand. I understand that, Kuzan, and I appreciate you.
Give me one more sentence on this. Like seriously, that's all I ask. But the big thing is that we want people to legitimately look like I have gone on 100 hours of spaces and talked about exactly what we're going to do. It's there. People can read it. They can listen to it. They can do anything like that. And we want people that are really educated that are stepping into this space. Not in a rush. This is us building more assets. Like we said, every single day that chart's going to go up because we're just buying back, we're locking it, we're securing more tokens, we're developing more and more and more assets with that. And that's just 1/15 of what we're actually doing around. And everything that we're touching is transparent. The conviction is there and the gas is just full on. That's the best that I can say.
I'm
So
wanting to just wrap you up there a minute, Kuzan, because what we're going to do is we're probably going to extend this for another 15 minutes, and I want Chicken to kind of showcase his project off the back end of this show
Yeah.
for the final
No, Shane, I
15
appreciate
minutes.
that. I just
But
wanted to, let me just say one thing.
go
Kuzan,
on then, mate.
I love what you're saying, bro. And I've had to build very similar because a lot of the tech that we're building is actually proprietary and patented, and we have serious IP behind this. And I think what you're doing is strong on the attraction side for real. You're giving people a reason to come in, pay attention, and stay aware of what's happening, which is awesome. And you're controlling the supply, which also creates the structure around the token itself. But the part I'd be looking at is what behavior forms independently of that. You've talked about security, you've talked about making sure everything's transparent and everything. But remember, from a technical standpoint, yeah, that's because of the what happened, and you feel like that's what you got to do, right? Because buybacks and assets can support what you're doing, but long-term systems usually hold when people are participating without needing to be pulled in. So I think the interesting layer is what people actually do once they're inside that makes them come back regardless of the price.
Yeah, I want to just jump
I
in there a
love
minute quickly, Kuzan. So what he did suggest to you, what I've actually never done before, and I actually think it's genius what Chicken suggested, was actually going onto socials like Reddit and finding out what people want and then reaching out to them and basically giving them what they want within your project, because then you're not forcing them to come in, but they'll have the feel good to come in. Then at that point they'll know there's no pressure, but you're addressing the issues that they're seeing elsewhere. And I think that would be a really good strategic move. And
I think that you guys are absolutely right because me and you talked about this when we developed. We originally were talking about developing limited NFTs, and we're like, well, why not develop to the cater an aspect of art with our token and reach out in that aspect, give somebody holders. And I've had a lot of people in the past 2 days on my spaces say like, what entices the short term, what entices the long term, what allows people to build, what gets people excited. And we're really doing our research on that to figure out exactly what we need to start developing, both in a Web3, Web2, and real life outreach. But we're also working with a lot of cool things, like where I'm trying not to hint too much, but we're working with an AI agent. We're going to give him his own little profile to run around in our community with, that literally just goes around on X and spreads positivity under anything that positive that happens with humanity, cancer development, community outreach, anything, and it just immediately starts flooding and spreading love and positivity. So we're just really trying to get everybody smiling again, bring them back to the golden days is what we like to call it. And I'm saying that as a 24-year-old, like, let's stop with the negativity, the hate, the judgmental, the greed and passion just all dominate the narrative in such a negative way. This is our time to rewrite history. Every single one of us, no matter your project, no matter what you're doing, we can all work together and really grow to become something special in this space. And I'm very excited to see what
Yeah, dude, I love
2026
it.
is like.
I love it, bro. Just one thing I'm gonna say is, remember, people say they want certain things. How they actually behave once they get it are usually different, right? And that's the only thing.
Absolutely. It's, you got to show them. You can't say, you can't just yap. You
Yeah,
gotta,
dude.
you
They're
gotta
like
show
kids,
them
bro.
what you're doing.
Like a child, right? You can't tell a child to do something, they're not going to do it. But if you do it in front of them, like for me, if I ever have kids, I don't play the piano, but I'm going to buy an electric keyboard, program some songs into it, and just sit there, pretend like I'm playing in front of him. So now he can start manifesting it, right? The visualization, that's how we learn. If you have problems in life, take a fucking screenshot of yourself, put it into AI, put yourself in cool situations, do it, jailbreak it, right? So you can get your brain and start thinking about it. Like you said, people need to see it, right? But then the people buy you, Kuzan, right? Forget what happened. Because with identity, it's not that you got to start all over. It's a new iteration of what you're doing. That's why identity is important.
What I want you two guys to do is, when I add you into this Telegram group, is to catch up on the back end, because Kuzan, you've got two really good guys down here on stage, 21 and Chicken, right? These guys can help you out massively if you just reach out to them, as well as Franco, our dev at Beans. It's a case of just reaching out, and they'll help you with anything. Like, they're not necessarily going to go out and build stuff for you, but they can put you in directions, and
Kuzan, I
even
just
like,
want to. I'm sorry, Shan. I don't mean to cut you off. That feeling you got, Kuzan. That feeling you got, right? There's a little bit of disdain. There's a little bit of like, fuck. Like you're kind of mad, right? You're kind of
About what?
like, it
What
just
am I
feels like
mad
you're like,
about?
no. Just there's always, as growing up and having everybody trying to, always add to something and give you different perspectives. Like you say, right? Fuck all that noise. And if you have that identity, bro, you're way ahead of the game, man. You're
I
way ahead
think
of the
I
game.
think the best thing that not only I do, but the rest of my team does, is that we're willing to learn and we're willing to say that we're ignorant. Like, I don't know shiz whiz in this space. That's why I'll sit here, and if Shane tells me something, I'm like, okay, what's next?
That's
Okay,
awesome, dude.
you say something, what's next? Okay, now if I learn something and then I sit back, I ask a question, then I just keep going with it. And I think that's the message that we're really trying to push. The how much I've grown on X alone. I never thought this would happen 3 months ago during Christmas, and I'm sitting here and just never knew that. And I really encourage everybody to do that. Like, aside from my projects, aside from everybody else, be a sponge. Who cares what your ego is? Who cares how many people like you? Whatever. The right people will come in. The right people will love you. The right people will do this for you. You just have to be yourself. Be authentic. Throw some laughs, throw some jokes, have fun with it. I mean, you go look at my page, I'm making funny faces and tag and mist and just making all this stupid shit. So, like, just have fun with it, y'all. This is your space to grow and have fun and educate yourself. And thank you guys. Like, you guys teach me so much. I'm sitting right here. I got the notebook still
Yeah.
going.
I
So,
love it, dude. I love
like,
it, man.
you
I
guys are
fucking love
awesome.
it. You're gonna
I
fucking just keep grinding, bro.
appreciate you coming on, Kuzan. Thank you very much for that, mate. And like I say, get to know these guys who you're in and around, and they'll help you along the way. Not everyone knows everything, and the more connections you have, the damn sight easier it is to progress. And it's all about learning. So thank you very much, mate. And like I say, there's always a place on the show for you to come on, and we'll follow you on this journey as your project progresses in over time. All right.
Awesome. I love it. Guys, make sure you go and follow Shane, follow the stage, say what's up to everybody. I got to go knock out some things, but thank you, Shane, for having me. Chicken 21, I'll reach out to you guys. Thank you so much. And I really appreciate everybody. Let's get out there and spread positivity to everybody you know. And I hope everybody has a great night.
Cheers,
Likewise,
mate.
likewise, bro.
Right, so guys, that was Nova, a new project out. Very, very good dev, young dev. Maybe not have all the experience under the world, but he's got a lot of help with the experienced people in the space and some really good connections. And like he's just said there, he's got plenty of things to come, and he's doing something that's needed in the space. He's got the same mindset as many of us on stage today has shared. None of these projects are saying, go and buy my coin, go and buy my coin. When you hear people saying that, they're the projects you want to keep away from, the people who are ramming it down your throat. So we are going to have a solid stop in 10 minutes time. I really do want to get Chicken up just to kind of showcase his project one final time, because I think it's really important. And like I say, any information that you miss first time round, Chicken, it just kind of gives you the opportunity to get that in at this stage. Also, just quickly off the back of the show, we are giving feedback forms out if people can just spend the time to fill them in. And for viewers, any project that's come up today, just make sure you go and give them a follow on X as a bare minimum. They've taken the time to come up and kind of spend time showcasing the project, and join the telegrams. And like I say, go kind of buy a bag if you want to, but make sure you do your own research. Go on, Chicken, over to you, mate. Wrap the
Yeah,
show
man.
down.
Yeah, man.
10
Shane,
minutes.
a great show, man. A lot of cool devs. I'll keep it simple, right? And really, I think what's interesting about everything we've heard today is everyone's solving a different part of the same problem.
Yeah.
You got people that are building infrastructure, you got people building communities, people building culture, but most importantly, people building on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
But underneath, I think all of this, it really comes down to one thing, man. How people behave inside systems, right?
Yeah.
And that's what I try and explain to everybody, right? Because you could have all the great tech in the world, and even if you do, as you could see, like Nova, right? You can't introduce it. So to the young devs out there, don't worry about showcasing what you're building. Showcase what the signal you're trying to produce. What are you trying to solve for? Why it's important, right? What the technology is going to produce versus the infrastructure. Because remember, people don't fall in love with the tech. We're the nerds. The people that are investing want to know that it's being built by trustworthy people, and they'll ape, right? So think about that from a behavior standpoint when people are looking into this, right? Because no matter how great the tech is, or how strong the community is, or even how real the purpose is, if behavior doesn't hold, right, everything else is just a reset every cycle. Even Nova, the team, was talking about greed, right? The first thing I test in any of my systems is greed. And you can go read about the social experiment that we did for the first 30 days to make sure that the people that we're bringing in to our intimate circle, we could trust, right? So what we focus on is understanding that behavior before the outcomes actually show up is what's important, right? And that's even in systems, right? When that behavior, especially in agentic systems, even though they have a single plane of truth, there's divergence. But most systems pick that up when it's too late, especially when you're looking at AI and data, right? But once you could see all this clearly, right? And not just what people say, but but people could see what you actually do, and when there's no real incentive at the surface level for the people that are just looking to stay. Once you have that clear understanding of what people want, you don't just build projects. You build systems that actually last. And at the end of the day, the chicken project and what we're doing is this echoes the same thing, is getting people involved to learn and grow and build in safe spaces with people and start compounding skill, right? Because think about if every person on this panel today, if we all were in one big community, we're able to share resources, what we could get done. I mean, within a 2-hour conversation, the insights that were shared, imagine being able to do that at scale, more consistently with tools and a system in place that doesn't just protect one project, but it gives you the lens that explains all projects.
Yeah, just to touch on that. So I know exactly what you're on about because I've done this with 96 projects. Gathered 96 projects to do exactly this and share utility and work together as a collaborative group to build out at rapid rate for free. And it's very, very difficult to do it because at the end of the day, everybody has to want to contribute. But if you are one of those individuals who does contribute to doing it, you know what? Like, that's the only way that it works. You can't just take, you've got to be willing to give as well at the other end.
Yeah,
And
man.
those people who are open to doing the giving as well as the taking, they're the ones that in the long run they're going to benefit the most because that was the outcome of what I built. You know, those people who just didn't kind of give at all, no one was interested in kind of working with them guys because they were just all for the taking
Yeah.
and for the obvious reasons. So I'm like I say, I'm 100% down for this because, like I say, I've done it prior, but it would be nice to kind of do it like maybe 3 years on since that effort was made, and hopefully, like I say, I didn't even think about the mindset of the space at that time because I was relatively new into meme coins at that point. But again, you hit the nail on the head. It's mindset, and when the sooner people come to realize that working as a collaborative group instead of just working alone is more beneficial, not only for the projects, but also for the communities that follow. The sooner the space will clean its act up a little bit as a whole and, you know, create a nicer environment for people to now later come on and following us
Yeah,
once
man.
we've created that. So I like I say, I completely agree with you, and I resonate with your projects in so many different ways. And as you're talking, and what you're saying. It's just so true, but at the same time, everyone has to want to play their part.
Well,
Like,
that's the hardest part, right? And that's what I wanted to just touch upon real quick is collaboration and participation all sounds simple, but to me, collaboration is not coming together to work on something, right? Even that word alone has a negative anchor to it. To me, collaboration is translation. First, you got to sit down and translate your ideas, and then everyone will, until it depends on everybody showing up. What you need to do is also create structure, right? Remember, these are projects, there's volunteers, people have real life jobs. Just find out when people could show up and plan around that first. Gauge and see, okay, I know everybody in the beginning is excited, but what happens when that excitement fades, right? The intimacy phase is over. And now you're standing in the middle of the road and everyone's like, all right, cool. Yeah, I guess, whatever. And everybody starts leaving. It's like the same thing in NFTs. Once one person sells, right, then it's usually a cascading effect. And I think founders go into this like you just saw young founders with all this enthusiasm and think just by doing, thinking these ways, things are going to happen. But remember, in reality, it's the behavior, right? And that's usually where it breaks, not because people don't care, but because there's no structure that holds behavior in place. Willingness gets people in, but systems work when participation can become predictable. And once that happens, you don't have to rely on everyone being motivated all the time.
yeah, no, I completely agree. And sometimes it can probably come across like bossy, is like when you're trying to encourage or you're trying to get people to
Yeah,
do
man.
stuff.
Yeah,
It,
dude.
it's like you're kind of like forcing them, not forcing them, but
Yeah.
it's kind of putting them under pressure at
100%,
that
dude. And
point.
that's 100%, dude. 100%, 100%. Why? Because people just want to be a part of something, right? They want to feel connected, right? And they say, yeah, 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 right? But, getting people to do stuff isn't it's that the pressure creates the activity, right? And works in the beginning because people don't want to be a part of something so a little pressure could get them moving, right? They want to be a part of something because the challenge is pressure doesn't hold long-term behavior. The uncertainties that I talk about, it creates activity, but not consistency. And what needs to last is when people know exactly how they fit. That's why in the beginning, finding out what are they saying, what are they talking about, and then design from there. And the design could be love and all that. But you have to define that first because when they show up, even when no one's asking them to, how are you going to be able to tell them or people, how are they going to be able to tell people what's really going on if you haven't clearly defined it?
No, I completely agree with you. We are going to have to unfortunately wrap things up, Chicken, and I'm really sorry that you couldn't kind of get a final pitch in, but I actually
Nah,
believe
man,
your
it's all good,
words at the
bro.
back end were probably
Yeah,
more important than the
yeah,
pitch
man.
itself again. Um, I just want to kind of quickly say before we close the show down, today's sponsor was Chicken. You know, you've just heard him there. This is a project that has come on today and give, you know, not only their own pitch, but a lot of feedback to everybody else who's been up on stage. Obviously, wanting to do the right thing, change the mindset of the space, that of projects, that of devs, and work in sync with one another, you know, as a collective movement. Um, I want you to check out their socials. You know, we've attached them down below across all our other social platforms that we're streaming on today. If you're a viewer on that particular platform, check it out, join it, you know, and get active inside their Telegram, find out more about them, ask the questions. In terms of 21, I just really appreciate you taking the time out of the space. I know that you're always so busy, and you know, it's a real pleasure to get you on, mate, because I know it's hard to kind of
It's
get hold of you for the best of
no,
times.
it was my absolute pleasure, man.
No,
I
man, I
enjoyed being
appreciate it.
here.
You know, and
Great
anybody out there, dude, even
pitches,
if you're just,
everybody.
you
Just
know,
thanks for
you
having
know, have a question, bro, you need somebody to listen, just reach out, man, you know, or email me at chickencto@gmail, right? This stuff's easy to me, right? It's and what sucks is I'm better at fixing other people's problems than my own, right?
me.
But you know, we're all in this together, guys, and this is a new age, right? The communities are here now. We don't have to scream about community anymore. They're everywhere. You just got to plug into them and know what it is that you're helping them solve.
Yeah, no, 100% agree. So, right, guys, we're going to close the show down. I just want to say thanks again to both Chicken and Rayum. I hope you both can kind of come back on the show at a later date and, you know, keep us informed with what you are doing within your project. I want to thank everybody, all the viewers across all social platforms that we're on and all them listening to the live radio. Really appreciate you taking the time to come and listen. And, you know, we do shows every Tuesday and every Friday where we kind of bring, you know, really trusted, good projects and their devs and the teams. And sometimes we kind of exploring the unseen territory in this space by bringing retail in, bringing influencers on who share a common interest outside of crypto, and try and get them involved into certain aspects. Um, on Friday, we've got a music NFT show where we've got a really great selection of people coming on. So if you're interested in that, come and tune in. You can find it on our main X. You know, it's at the same time. I think it's at 6 p.m. Eastern. But yeah, go to our main X and that's the place to be. So also give Beans and Baloney a follow, because by following us, you'll be kept up to date with all the projects that run through this show every week. You know, we're hitting, you know, 16 to 18 projects a week, which is good numbers really, and hopefully we can get around a lot of projects, because I do believe that everyone needs assistance with the visibility. So yeah, thanks a lot, guys, and peace.
DGNRadio, trenches on the radio.